Yo legends! Welcome back to the channel. Grab your headphones and lock in, because today's story is on another level. Want the next chapter? Drop a comment below, and if the legend continues, I'm bringing it straight to you. Disclaimer: I do not claim ownership of this story. All rights belong to the original creators. Note: I'm constantly tweaking the settings to make it as immersive as possible. One Piece, the God-level wealth system and the rise of Akatsuki. https://www.fantil.com/d/file/cover 233/m55 and mdzvoxu.jpg. Chapter 1: Changes in Summit War. Please vote for flower evaluation. Prepare for execution. On the execution platform 100 meters high, Sengoku shouted sharply. The long knives in the hands of the two executioners stood up and were raised high in the sky, ready to execute the order. Whitebeard's second captain, Portgas D. Ace, is the son of the devil. He will be beheaded today. Under the square hateful. Hurry up. That's too late, Ace. Everyone in the Whitebeard Pirates tried their best to break out of the encirclement, but this was Marines' base camp, and all Marines' combat power was assembled here. It was too difficult to break out of the encirclement. Luffy was also surrounded by a group of Marines, roaring Ace's name. The strongest man, Whitebeard, was involved in the three admirals. "Whitebeard, your time is over," Akainu said in a low voice. Whitebeard had a gloomy look on his face. He looked towards the execution platform and looked at his son Ace. It's too late. He had just been injured by his own pirate group Xiao'S, and due to his old age and deteriorating physical condition, it was too difficult to fight against the three admirals, and he could not get even half a step closer to the execution platform. In his peak period, maybe he wouldn't be so passive at this moment. A roar came. Above the sky, a giant bird with blue flames spread its wings and soared towards the execution platform. "No, Phoenix," Marco everyone below exclaimed. Marco used his Phoenix Fruit ability to fly towards the execution platform and shouted, "Ace, here I come. Quick, knock him down. Shoot, don't let him get close to the execution platform." Below, the gun in Marine's hand kept firing flaming snakes. Bullets hit Marco like a dense raindrop. However, the Phoenix Fruit was not afraid of bullets at all and penetrated directly. Marco continued towards the execution platform. "There is hope." A muffled low groan was heard, and Garp, who had been sitting on the execution platform, stood up presumptuous. Garp roared, his fist like a mountain, making an explosion in the air, and directly shot down the Phoenix approaching the execution platform. The Phoenix flew out directly, smashing a building into pieces with a boom. Garp's strong body landed on the Admiral stage and sat directly in the middle of the Admiral. There were screams of surprise from the people below. "Hero Monkey D. Garp." At this time, the people of the Whitebeard Pirates felt a little desperate, and even the captain, Marco, was knocked down. Sengoku looked at all this, and it was time to end. Execution. An order resounded throughout the war, and the machetes held high by the two executioners fell directly. Ace the Whitebeard Pirates went crazy and rushed in. Telephone bugs spread the single image around the world. Sabayati Island. Rayleigh stood on a huge tree trunk and looked at the screen in the distance. The execution had been carried out. He took a sip of wine, with a hint of loneliness in his eyes. "Roger, I'm afraid your son will die today." Below, the audience watched the scene intently. This is the biggest battle between Marine and pirates in recent years. In this battle, I am afraid that the pattern of New World will change. As the strongest man who treats the crew as his family, Whitebeard is afraid that he and Marine will fight to the death after Ace's execution. Somewhere in the sea, red-hair pirates looked at the screen and remained silent. They are on their way to Summit War, preparing to abort the battle. Marine headquarters, somewhere in a corner, Blackbeard looked crazy, revealing his missing teeth. Hey, be more chaotic, kill that Whitebeard guy, then my plan will succeed." Everyone thinks Ace must die and the Whitebeard Pirates have no chance of winning. And somewhere on the bottom of the sea, inside a huge submarine, Tong was sitting in the driver's seat with his legs crossed and his expression relaxed. The screen in front of him was also the Summit War screen. A few days ago, he traveled through time and came to the world of One Piece. And it is bound with God-level assassination system. The system requires him to establish an assassination organization, and then through the employment of others, the commissions obtained can be converted into the wealth of the system. The conversion is 1:1, and 1000 W Bailey can be drawn once. As for what he can draw, Tong still doesn't know. However, the products produced by the system must be high-quality products. Tong believes that it will definitely not be bad. You know, the novice gift package he received is worth a fortune. He was directly given 3,000 assassination subordinates, and all of them are Logia fruit ability users, including one with Admiral level strength, 9 with Quasi-Admiral level strength, 990 with Vice Admiral level or above, and the rest are with Vice Admiral level strength. This kind of strength is definitely considered top-level strength, and it is probably even stronger than the Straw Hat Pirates when they become the 5 Emperors in the future. However, Tong currently has no strength and can only gradually become stronger through the rewards obtained through lottery draws. However, Tong had only been in this world for a few days, and no one knew about his existence, let alone anyone who hired him to kill people. Therefore, the first thing Tong has to do is to make his killer organization famous. And just a few days ago, Tong saw the newspaper that today Ace will be publicly executed. Tong immediately thought it was Summit War. An idea suddenly came to mind. You must know that Ace is the second team of the Whitebeard Pirates and the son of the Pirate King. I'm afraid people all over the world are paying attention to such a stunt. In addition, Marine is paying special attention to it this time, gathering all its strength and preparing to annihilate the Whitebeard Pirates in one fell swoop. In order to suppress the powerful pirates, a live broadcast was conducted all over the world. In this way, the news would only be known faster. Tong wants to make his killer organization famous, so he will not miss this battle. As long as his killer comes forward to save Ace, this battle will be ended. In this way, his killer organization will shock the audience and become the focus of the world, and he can use this as a platform for publicity. Not only does this end this top-level war, but it also reflects the strength of his killer organization, letting everyone know that his killer organization can rival any top-level combat force. In this way, others will feel free to hire them for killing tasks. For this reason, Tong also chose a very awesome name, Xiao. Tong slowly picked up the phone in his hand and said, "Have you controlled Lao Sha?" "Control." Tong grinned. He knew very well that this time Lao Sha would kill the 2 executioners to delay the execution. How can someone let someone pretend to be such a? You definitely want me to come. Very good. Code 0, take action. Save Ace. Yes. Feilu's 18th anniversary brand upgrade gives back to readers. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab a deposit now. Activity time, August 10th to August 20th. Chapter 2 Admiral is dead. Please vote for flower evaluation. Marine Headquarters. Crocodile wanted to kill the 2 executioners, but found himself restrained by a group of people who suddenly appeared. Huh? Who are you? Crocodile frowned slightly. The people on the other side were silent. Crocodile made a cut sound, chewed on the cigarette and shouted, "Laozi is not someone to be bullied." Then, with a wave of his hand, a huge ball of sand turned into a sharp knife and slashed at several people. Nanny! Crocodile's eyes flashed. All the people in front of them did not dodge, and were cut in half by the knife transformed from the sand. But Crocodile knew very well that these people were not dead. He is a Logia fruit just like himself. For a moment, a drop of cold sweat ran down his forehead. Who are these people? Why are they all Logia fruits? You know, Logia is very rare. At the same time, on the other side of the execution platform, just as two machetes were about to fall, a dazzling bright light suddenly flashed out on the execution platform. Nani? Sengoku's pupils under his glasses moved. What happened? As the white flash dissipated, everyone discovered that the two executioners had fallen, and there was a man standing next to Ace. The man was wearing a black robe with patterns on it, like several red clouds, and a black smiling mask on his face. At this moment, the people on the battlefield couldn't help but stop fighting and look at the execution platform. Who is that person? There was blood at the corner of Whitebeard's mouth, but his eyes were still sharp. He looked at the execution platform and remained silent. He knew very well that this person was not with him. Admiral also looked towards the execution platform. There was no expression on Aokiji's face. Kizaru had a crooked smile on his face. Yo, look who it is. Akainu, on the other hand, had a gloomy face and glared at the man standing on the execution platform. Great. Luffy was delighted and laughed. Ace is not dead. All the big shots present were confused for a moment. This change caught everyone off guard. In a submarine somewhere in the sea, Tong looked at the screen and licked his lips. A smile couldn't help but appear on his lips. Haha, these people must be confused. This is called the collaboration between the Akatsuki organization and the pirates. Haha. After Sengoku was surprised for a moment, a scowl appeared on his face. Since you rescued Ace, it means you and Marine are enemies. As soon as he finished speaking, Sengoku's body shone with golden light. His body gradually grew larger, and the crane hat on his head fell down to the execution platform. The Marshal takes action. Big Buddha. Haha, the man in black will definitely die. The fixing screws on the execution platform kept popping out because they could not withstand the pressure. A golden Buddha stands proudly on the execution platform. I'm guilty of blocking Marine's execution of criminals. A loud shout like thunder resounded throughout the battlefield. The next moment, the transformed Sengoku slapped the mysterious man with a big palm. Everyone in the audience was watching this scene. The mysterious man slowly raised his arm and fired a white laser at Sengoku. The Buddha's palm collides with the laser. Since they couldn't tell the result for a while, they were deadlocked with each other. Sengoku gritted his teeth, and there was some disbelief in his pupils behind his glasses. This guy actually took my slap. How is this possible? Not only was Sengoku surprised, everyone in the audience, including Marines and pirates, were shocked. Who is this person? You can actually fight against the Marshal. This person only has Admiral level strength. Look at his clothes, you've never seen him before. Why didn't such a strong man show his prowess before? Pirate? Or the Revolutionary Army? Everyone didn't know, and they all made guesses in their minds. The execution platform trembled unbearably, and the anger in Sengoku's eyes rose again. I must defeat this man, otherwise it will definitely affect the morale of the soldiers. This battle has been planned for a long time. The Whitebeard Pirates must be annihilated. If the morale of the soldiers drops, it will be over. Thinking of this, Sengoku shouted loudly and slapped down another golden palm again. Boom! A huge explosion of energy came. The execution platform finally became overwhelmed and began to collapse. Huge clouds of dust filled the entire execution platform area. Defeated? He must have been defeated. After all, the Marshal is also a veteran who has experienced hundreds of battles, and his strength is above that of the Admiral. Aha, if that man can't withstand the Marshal's blow, I'm afraid he will be killed by this blow just like Ace next to him. We Marine are not far away from victory. The little people talked one after another and forgot to fight the battle. In fact, this is normal. After all, the execution platform is the key to this battlefield. The big shots said nothing, silently watching the outcome. Everyone knows very well what Admiral level strength means. Luffy ran over quickly. Ace. He was very worried about his brother's condition. In such a collapse, Ace, who was holding Seastone, might be injured. Soon the smoke dissipated, and everyone's eyes were focused here. Then everyone was shocked. In front of Buddha Sengoku, the mysterious man stood tall and straight. No trace of injury could be seen on his body. Not only that, but the mysterious man protected Ace at the moment of the collapse. On the square, Akainu, who had originally restrained Whitebeard, could no longer sit still. No matter who it is, as long as it is a pirate, he must die today. Akainu's whole body turned into lava, and he quickly rushed towards the mysterious man. Even if you have Admiral-level strength, so what? As long as you join in with the Marshal's restraint, you can still take it away. In just the blink of an eye, Akainu was next to the mysterious man. His fist turned into rolling lava, and he punched it away. Go to hell. Buddha's Sengoku struck down with his big palm at the same time hateful. Marco climbed out of the rubble and was shocked when he saw the two admirals attacking the man who saved Ace. Two top marine executives attacked one person with all their strength at the same time. I'm afraid even the powerful four emperors like Kaido will not feel comfortable. But now that all his companions are being restrained, he is the only one who can help. Marco transformed into a phoenix again and quickly rushed to help. It feels like it's too late, but the next moment, something unexpected appeared again. I saw several laser beams flying over the heads of the three people. What is that? Before anyone could react, 9 lasers flew towards Akainu. Damn it! As a veteran with absolute strength, Barp has a strong sense of crisis. He stood up suddenly and tried to block several laser beams, but unfortunately it was too late. The 9 laser beams were extremely fast and arrived in front of Akainu in just the blink of an eye. Akainu's pupils shrank, and his magma fist changed direction and blasted towards the laser. It's a pity that these are 9 paths. He only blocked 2 of them, and the remaining 7 penetrated directly through his body. Suddenly, a sharp pain hit me. Haki. Before he finished speaking, Akainu vomited blood and fainted. Everyone present was in an uproar and extremely horrified. Admiral was killed. There is not just one mysterious person, but 10, and everyone is so powerful. What kind of organization are these guys? Feilu's 18th anniversary brand upgrade gives back to readers. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab a deposit now. Activity time, August 10th to August 20th. Chapter 3 Good News. Please vote for flower evaluation. Akainu fell, and the 7 lasers that penetrated him were all attached to Haki. Even if he was a Logia fruit, it would not help. The next moment, 9 lasers flashed a burst of dazzling white light, just like a sun. It was so painful that everyone couldn't open their eyes. It's so dazzling that I almost shed tears. My eyes can't see. Everyone's shouts came one after another. Some of the weaker ones had their eyes severely damaged when they were exposed to the strong light. Under a certain sea area, in a submarine, Tong wore sunglasses and smiled. This is the Logia laser fruit. If your eyes are irradiated by laser, it will take a while to recover even if you are not blind. The 3,000 subordinates given to him by the novice gift pack are all Logia laser fruit capable users without exception. However, the degree of development of fruit abilities is very different, and the physical fitness is also different. That's why only Codename Zero has Admiral level strength, and other strengths are below Admiral level. It's enough to shock the whole audience now. After all, the war just now consumed a lot of energy from these people. This is also the reason why Tong chose this time to take action. And to be honest, Summit War has all the actors except Akainu. Otherwise Luffy wouldn't have been rescued. Tong couldn't help laughing again when he thought of this. This is why he took the lead in taking the stab at Akainu. Put down the one who jumps the most first, and the rest will be much easier to handle. On the screen, the bright light like the sun slowly disappeared. Everyone looked. Then I saw 10 mysterious people wearing uniforms standing tall. Each one is like an unshakable giant mountain. In front of them, Akainu had fallen into a pool of blood. There was silence. Buddha's Sengoku's pupils kept flashing, and even he, the resourceful general, had not noticed this change. Akainu died like this. At this time, Garp also stood next to Sengoku, looking at the 10 members of Akatsuki with solemn eyes. At the same time, Kizaru, Aokiji, and other Marines' top combat forces have also gathered together. Whitebeard, I didn't expect you to have such a skill. Garp gritted his teeth and said. Marco was just about to go to rescue Code Zero, but stopped when he saw that nothing happened. His face showed joy. Haha, Dad didn't expect you to find such a helper. The captain of the 3rd Division also looked excited. Ace has been rescued. Dad, let them help take off the sea stone from Ace. Somewhere in a hidden place, Blackbeard was furious. Why is that old immortal still hiding this hand? He gritted his teeth and his mind was racing. He had to do something, otherwise his plan to hand Ace over to Marine would probably not work. Marine Admiral Akainu may have fallen, but his strength is still there. There are also 7 warlords of the sea. Everyone looked at Whitebeard strangely, wondering why he hid such fighting power. Whitebeard held the Guangong sword in his hand, stood tall and straight, and laughed loudly. Hey lololo, these people are not my people. I, Whitebeard, have never done anything dirty. As soon as these words came out, everyone present was in an uproar again. Even Whitebeard's pirate group were surprised. This is not one of our people, so why save Ace? No matter what, kill me, Marine Admiral. His sin is so heinous that he must be an enemy. Sengoku shouted sharply. All major Marines obey orders. Just then, a voice interrupted Sengoku. Buddha Sengoku, Akainu is not dead. Code Zero said in an emotionless voice. Everyone was surprised again. We have just avoided the main vital points. We will not die for a while, but if the bleeding continues like this, it will be difficult to say. Garp and Madara frowned slightly and said in a deep voice, Who are you? Since you are not Whitebeard's person, why should you help Whitebeard? What is your purpose? Code Zero remained silent and slowly reached into his pocket. Notice! Sengoku shouted loudly, his big palm already accumulating power. What are you going to do? Don't move rashly. Garp's fist has attached to Haki, and Aokiji and Kizaru are also ready to fight. At the same time, all the Marines now no longer care about the Whitebeard Pirates, and countless empty guns are pointed at the 10 members of Akatsuki. At the same time, the Whitebeard pirate group also gathered together. After Whitebeard said that he was not one of their own, they all felt like they were facing a formidable enemy. The purpose of these 10 top combat ability users who appeared for no reason is unknown. They also woke up. The lasers released by these people just now were indiscriminate attacks. Whether they were Marines or pirates, those with low strength had their eyes severely damaged. In other words, these mysterious people do not belong to any party. Everyone is on guard, not knowing what Code Zero is going to come up with. Under the gaze of countless pairs of eyes, Code Zero slowly took out a phone bug. I only heard Codename Zero leisurely say, Our master will answer your question. As soon as these words came out, the eyes of all the big guys changed drastically. They don't care about answering questions, but there is a master behind this person with top strength. It is possible for an admiral-level person and several people to work together to knock down Akainu's 9 people. Although it is a sneak attack, the sneak attack must be strong. How about you ask a few soldiers to sneak attack Akainu? Killed directly with one punch. And behind these people there is a master. How terrifying would this person be? Code Zero doesn't care about these people's thoughts at all, and is not afraid of sudden attacks by these people. In addition to the 10 of them, there are 2,990 people hiding in the dark in case of accidents. I saw Code Zero slowly lifting the phone bug. Inside the phone bug, a voice spoke. Hello everyone, I am the leader of the Akatsuki organization, you can call me Wu. The voice was not high-pitched, it did not show evil, nor was it good, but everyone looked solemn. Dawn? No one here had heard of this organization, but it suddenly appeared. Once it appeared, it was extremely powerful. Tong continued, I'm so sorry for interrupting your war. Although he said he was sorry, he didn't mean to be embarrassed at all. Tong ignored these and continued, I came here today to tell you some good news. Feilu's 18th anniversary brand upgrade gives back to readers. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab a deposit now. Activity time, August 10th to August 20th. Chapter 4 Xiao, please vote for flower evaluation. There were surprised looks on everyone's faces. Good news. What's the good news? Tong did not give in and continued, we Xiao are a killer organization. As long as you have money, you can hire our killers to help you kill your mortal enemy. Hey, how about it? This news is good news, right? Everyone was speechless. Is this good news? Damn it. What if someone hires the Xiao organization to kill me? Really, I can only say that this is good news for rich people, but useless news for people without money. It is the same whether they have it or not, and they also have to worry about being hired as a killer. Kill yourself. You just saw our strength. Speaking of which, I would like to thank Akainu Admiral for his cooperation. Because of him, we were able to demonstrate the strength of our Akatsuki organization and dispel your doubts about the strength of our organization. Everyone looked at each other. Listen, is this human talk? Will Akainu cooperate with you? It's obviously you who took the initiative, okay? Red Hair Pirates. Usopp's father burst out laughing. Boss, I'm afraid that if Akainu is not seriously injured and unconscious now, he will be angry to death from these words. Ha ha ha, the crew members laughed. However, their expressions soon became serious. Shanks said, originally, I thought that this war would cause a huge change in the structure of New World, but now it seems that this is not just a simple change of power. I am afraid that everyone will defend themselves by then. An organization like this in the shadows is a knife hanging on everyone's neck. But the next moment, Tong's words shocked everyone. No, it should be a sensation all over the world. The target of employment can be anyone. It can be a marine. It can be a pirate. It can also be a revolutionary army including celestial dragons. As soon as these 3 words came out, the whole place exploded. Celestial dragons. Did I hear wrongly? This is a world noble. And even the revolutionary army, marines and pirates are included. Is the leader of this Akatsuki organization crazy? Aren't you afraid of becoming the target of public criticism? Sengoku looked unhappy and yelled, presumptuous. Having said that, it's time to go and destroy the phone bug in Code Zero hand. If this was known to the celestial dragons, there would be a lot of trouble. Tong said calmly, Sengoku, aren't you afraid of losing an admiral if you do it? Sengoku then remembered that Akainu was still lying down not far away from the house. If he rashly angered the other party, Akainu's life would be in danger. Damn it! Sengoku stopped helplessly. Sabayati Island. The people on the island only felt that the world was about to change, and an inexplicable sense of depression enveloped the world. This organization that suddenly appeared is so rampant that it can even kill celestial dragons from a distance. Rayleigh watched this scene and laughed. Interesting. After saying that, he took another sip of wine. The red-haired man was also slightly surprised, and then he couldn't help but smile. Haha, I originally thought that this organization would bring trouble to pirates, but now, doesn't it mean that everyone is the same? Interesting. Let's go. Go back to New World. The fat man bit his thigh and said in surprise, Old woo-woo, boss, woo-woo, can't we talk after eating? The red-haired man said angrily, but he naturally knew what his crew wanted to say. He smiled and said, this war is over. If something like this happens, who on both sides still has the heart to fight? Marine Headquarters. Tong's voice continued to ring from the phone bug. Of course. I won't accept small money, at least 1 million Baileys or more. After Tong considered it, he decided that the price was less than 1 million Baileys. It would not make any sense to accept it, and it would also be a waste of manpower. And Bailey's 100W 1000W can be implemented by those subordinates with Vice Admiral strength, and it can also improve their strength by taking advantage of the situation. Things like money also add up to a small sum. Next, this is our contact information. 5. If you need help, please call this phone number. Of course. You must pay 50% of the commission before hiring, and we will send someone to take over at that time. Haha, it's best not to have any evil thoughts. If anyone dares not to pay the balance or wants to set up a trap to frame our organizational personnel sent for the handover, then he will be blacklisted by our Akatsuki organization. At that time, no one will need to hire him. The Akatsuki organization will hunt him down. Okay, that's all I have to say. Please remember that our organization's name is Xiao'. I hope everyone will actively hire us. This is how we make a living. Hee hee. Tong said casually, then continued. I'm really sorry to bother everyone so much time. Hee hee. You continue. Our Akatsuki organization will no longer interfere in this war. Hey, Vice Admiral Garp. Tong said suddenly. Garp stared at the phone bug with sharp eyes. He didn't understand what the leader of the Dawn organization called him to do. Red Dog, no. Akainu will be left to you. You can carry him back for treatment. If he bleeds to death, it is none of our Akatsuki business. It's because you Marine didn't rescue me in time. Don't throw the blame on us Akatsuki when the time comes. I don't want to be hostile to Marine because I take the blame. Garp heard this, with a black line on his face, and cursed angrily. Your Xiao organization is a murderous organization, which is a violation in the first place, and those 3 words you just said, don't you have a clue in your own mind? We have been enemies for a long time. Tong's voice was a little aggrieved. Isn't this just asking for food? Everyone just felt baffled. Why is this girl still aggrieved? Damn it! You have such powerful subordinates, and are you just asking for food? It's really shameless. Garp said no more and walked over slowly. Sengoku, stop him. It would be bad if they suddenly attack you, haha. You will take action only if you have money, and you will take action only if you don't have money. Our Akatsuki organization, withdraw now and stop interfering. Akatsuki organization members obey orders. Mission accomplished. Retreat. Code 0 slowly put the phone bug back into his pocket. The next moment, everyone transformed into a city and flew out with lasers and left the battlefield. At this moment, the whole world recognized the existence of the Akatsuki organization. Feilu's 18th anniversary brand upgrade gives back to readers. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab a deposit now. Activity time, August 10th to August 20th. Chapter 5 The War Subsides. Please vote for flower evaluation. Xiao organized everyone to transform into lasers and left the battlefield. The whole place was silent, looking at the direction in which the 10 laser beams left. After a long time on the extremely evil era, it seems that there will be one more person. Garp touched his head and was the first to break the silence. On the side, Sengoku has returned to his human form and said Shen, haha, and he is still standing at the pinnacle of strength. It seems that we will have one more headache in the future. It's pitiful, I'm so old. Garp also laughed when he heard this. Hey, I'm just a vice admiral. I don't care about this anyway. Sengoku glared at Garp and snorted coldly. This is probably the reason why you have been refusing to be promoted. Garp ignored Sengoku, looked towards Akainu, changed the subject and said, okay, let's take Akainu to treatment. The next moment, Garp then yelled, Luffy, what are you doing? Luffy looked up at his grandfather and smiled. Save my brother. As he spoke, he took out the key and opened Ace's lock. Ha ha ha, Ace stood up. Hey, Luffy really didn't expect you to come here. What a disturbing guy. Coo la 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 la. In the distance, the bearded man also laughed. The Whitebeard pirates obey the order. Ace has been rescued. How can we break out? Let's go back to the New World. Oh, a group of pirates shouted excitedly. Rescuing Ace gave them all a boost of morale. On Marine's side, morale is low. Although they still have guns in their hands, Admiral's fall has made them feel cowardly. Sengoku breathed out. Garp, maybe it's time for this war to end. Garp touched his nose, his face non-committal. It's best to calm down, so I don't have to worry about anything happening to my grandson or Ace. The sudden attack of the Akatsuki organization interrupted this war, and then Tong spoke those strong words, threatening that even the celestial dragons would be included in the hunting range of their Akatsuki organization. This made all the big guys present no longer interested in continuing the war. Everyone needs time to digest the news. Discuss how to confront this new emerging force. Moreover, I'm afraid that once the celestial dragons know this news, Marine will fight to the death with the Akatsuki organization. As a result, Marine's pressure will intensify. At this time, if the battle continues, Marine's vitality will be severely damaged. Oh, I really have a headache. Sengoku touched his head. He looked at Whitebeard and shouted, Whitebeard, I will let you go this time. This meeting will definitely wipe out you, the remnant of the old era. Although Whitebeard was bleeding from his chest, he still stood tall. At this point, the summit war ended with Akatsuki's sudden intervention, coupled with Tong's strong promotion and the serious injury of Marine Admiral Akainu. After the Whitebeard pirates rescued Ace, they evacuated the Marine headquarters. It's just that Whitebeard's injury worsened again. The power of the Whitebeard pirates will also decrease a lot. This will also have an impact on the pattern of New World. However, the emergence of the Dawn organization also provided a tranquilizer for this era that was about to be turbulent. Before deciding how to face the Dawn organization, I am afraid that no force will take the lead to cause trouble. Everyone felt that an invisible knife suddenly appeared in the sky, and they didn't know if it would fall on them. Of course, this is only temporary. Sabayati Island, is this how the war ends? Isn't this nonsense? Whitebeard rescued Ace. Did Marine lose? Then pirates will become even more rampant in the future. That's not to say that the Whitebeard pirates can't benefit from it either. And the most important thing is that the Akatsuki organization suddenly appeared. I'm afraid that the pattern of New World will change again. Whitebeard is currently in poor health. He is afraid that it will be difficult to maintain his position as 4 emperors. I don't know if the Akatsuki organization will take the opportunity to intervene and become 4 emperors. Didn't that no mean that the Akatsuki are a killer organization? Who knows? Hey, if you have someone you want to take revenge on, you can give it a try. It's a good thing to have such an organization now. Where can I get the commission? Is only over 1 million Baileys. How can ordinary people have so much money? Everyone was talking about it. In the distance, Rayleigh was drinking wine, stood up slowly, and walked away without knowing what he was thinking. On the supernova side, everyone had a strange color on their faces, whether they were happy or angry. Xiao'S an organization? Ha, it's interesting. I really want to fight. A look of excitement appeared on Kid's face. Captain, as you just saw, it contains top-notch combat power that can compete with Admiral. We had no room to resist in front of Kizaru before, the subordinate reminded. Kid snorted disdainfully, then thought of something and said with a hint of amusement, Hey, do you think it would be fun if I hired them to kill the redhead? Hey, Kid's men were silent. If this is really the case, then there will be a big war in New World. Somewhere in the sea, Blackbeard and his companions were sitting on a raft. At this time, Blackbeard's face was full of gloom, and the anger in his eyes exploded uncontrollably. These bastards from the Xiao organization dare to ruin my plan. Damn it! Damn it! The overwhelming anger turned into a punch, which hit the raft hard. The next moment, everyone exclaimed, "Captain, what are you doing?" "Moo, the raft was broken up by you." Blackbeard also reacted belatedly, "I'll go." But it was too late. Everyone fell directly into the sea. Blackbeard is demon fruit power, and he quickly shouted for help. "Help me, help me." Fortunately, the wolf emerged from the sea in time and everyone was saved. Phew, Blackbeard gasped in embarrassment and muttered, "It seems we need to build a giant ship." After he calmed down, he then said to everyone with great interest, "Everyone, do you remember the contact information of the Akatsuki organization? Hey, Whitebeard didn't die in this war, but he was at the end of his strength. Didn't the Akatsuki organization say they are a killer organization? Hee. Then let's hire them to kill Whitebeard. The two sides will start a war, and we might be able to reap the benefits." "Captain, do you have that much money?" "Whitebeard's bounty is as high as 5,046,000,000 billy. I'm afraid the Akatsuki organization will ask for a higher price." Blackbeard heard this and stopped saying anything. "If you were rich, would you still ride on this broken raft? Will he almost fall into the sea and die? Hateful. Xiao organizing bad things for Laozi, Blackbeard, are at odds with you." Feilu's 18th anniversary brand upgrade gives back to readers. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab a deposit now. Activity time, August 10th to August 20th. Chapter 6 Marine's Decision. Please vote for flower evaluation. Somewhere in the sea a steel splint is exposed on the blue sea. On the plywood, Tong was wearing a black robe from the Dawn organization and a white expressionless mask. He stood erect and stared into the distance as if waiting for something. The white faceless mask is also to distinguish myself as the boss of the Akatsuki organization. His subordinates wear black smiling masks, but he represents nothing, so he uses a faceless mask to become a behind-the-scenes boss hiding behind his back. Certainly. The most important reason for this is that Tong currently does not have any strength. In order to ensure his own safety first, he has no choice but to do this. Although Tong is cautious in doing things, he likes to play it safe. If he was strong now, he would probably go to the Marine headquarters to take advantage of him personally. After a while, countless laser beams flew from the distant sea level. This is a total of 3,000 laser beams, just like a meteor shower crossing the sky, adding more beautiful strokes to the sunset. Finally home. Tong looked into the distance and smiled. The next moment, the laser was already on top of the submarine that surfaced. Suddenly, Tong raised his left hand and the laser beams merged into Tong's wrist. On Tong's arm, he had something similar to a wristwatch. This is a small world that can accommodate 3,000 people, and it was also given to him by the novice gift pack. In this way, these 3,000 Logia subordinates can be recovered and summoned at any time. This also saves Tong a lot of trouble. After all, an organization with 3,000 people can easily be discovered even if it finds a relatively secluded island. Lasers came in one after another, and the last one, which was more dazzling than all the lasers, fell in front of Tong. But he didn't enter the small world in Tong's hands. This is also a limitation of the small world. Admiral and his subordinates with strength above the Admiral level cannot return to the small world. But this is harmless. After all, Tong is only an Admiral level subordinate at present. This submarine, also given in the novice gift pack, can accommodate a dozen people. Code 0 returned to human form, and then half-knelt in front of Tong. "Master, the plan you arranged has been successfully completed." Tong nodded, then waved for him to get up, and praised. "I saw it through the live broadcast. You did a good job. I think most people in the world know the existence of our Xiao organization." "Thank you for the compliment, Master," Code 0 said respectfully. Tong smiled, turned and left without saying anything else. Let's go back to the submarine. Our Akatsuki organization will start official work from today." I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know who the first target will be. I hope it's a guy with hundreds of millions, so I can draw prizes more than 10 times, haha. Soon, the submarine disappeared on the sea, and it seemed like nothing happened here. Arriving inside the submarine, Tong summoned a vice admiral to answer the phone, and then asked Code Zero to be on guard for 4 weeks before returning to his room. He planned to consider the Xiao organization's next plan. Here at Marine Headquarters, Marine Fando is currently treating the injured and repairing the building. In a relatively well-preserved hall, here sits the Marine's highest combat power. Sengoku, Akiji, Kizaru, and the injured Akainu and other old and new bosses gathered together. The lobby is very immersive. After a while, Sengoku said, "We are summoned this time to do a post-war summary," and at the same time after a pause, Sengoku breathed out and said, "Everyone should also be aware that there is also something about the sudden appearance of the Akatsuki organization." Everyone was speechless except for Akainu, who looked gloomy under his hat. At this time, his whole body was covered with bandages, and it had to be said that Admiral was Admiral, who was able to move so quickly despite being so seriously injured. In this war, we originally planned to use Ace to lure out the Whitebeard Pirates and then annihilate them in one fell swoop. Unfortunately, we failed. This result was something I didn't expect, as the Marshal Luffy's appearance was already an accident, but this young boy was okay, mainly because I didn't expect that a powerful Akatsuki organization. Currently, our Marine headquarters, Ma Linfen Duo, is in a state of semi-collapse. I am afraid that it will be difficult for Marine to recover for a while. Everyone was silent. At this time, thick smoke billowed from Akainu's position, and a big hole had been burned through the table by his ability. He said with a sullen face, "This is a shame for Marine. These pirates and that Akatsuki organization are really too rampant and don't take us Marine seriously at all. Can't you see it? That Akatsuki organization deliberately appeared when we were in a desperate fight with the Whitebeard Pirates. This is using our war as a propaganda platform." Akainu gritted his teeth. "How dare you treat us like clowns?" While where Akainu's arm was, the table was already on fire from the lava. "I think we Marine can't continue like this and should take the initiative. As for the Marine headquarters, Ma Linfen Duo will leave it to other branches to handle. I propose to move the Marine headquarters to New World G1. That bullshit Akatsuki organization must be in the New World too, huh?" Sengoku glanced at Akainu, then withdrew his gaze and said calmly, "Akainu, take back your ability first." Akainu's face was non-committal, but it extinguished the flames. Sengoku then continued, "If the headquarters is set up in New World, I'm afraid it will cause conflict with the 4 emperors of New World. This is no small matter. Currently, Vice Admiral Garp has been dismissed. In addition, you were seriously injured. Even if the headquarters needs to be moved, it is not now. We will wait until Marine recovers its strength." Crane Vice Admiral asked, "What do the superiors think of the Akatsuki organization?" Sengoku looked a little unhappy and said, "Kill, and issue a reward order in the submarine." Tong naturally didn't know what the outside world thought of the Dawn organization. Even if he knew, he didn't care. At this time, Tong was sitting on a sofa thinking. The next step is to improve your strength through the wealth value lottery. Today, the combat power of Codename Zero is Admiral level, and there are 9 people with quasi-admiral strength. If the opponents hired by such strength are powerful organizations, such as Kaido of the Beasts, Big Mom, Red Hair, Whitebeard, etc., it's a powerful force. I'm afraid it's a little difficult. I don't know who will be the first to hire. Felu's 18th anniversary brand upgrade gives back to readers. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab a deposit now. Activity time, August 10th to August 20th. Chapter 7. The bounty is as high as 3,002 billion. Please vote for flower evaluation. The next day, a flock of seagulls soared across the sea. These seagulls also carry a package with them. When these gulls see a ship, they drop a bundle of newspapers. As the most important source of information in the pirate world, Tong will naturally not miss it. He was standing on the plywood wearing the uniform of the Akatsuki organization and code name 0. Soon, a seagull flew over in the distance. After seeing Tong and code number 0, the seagull took out a bundle of newspapers from the package and threw it towards Tong. Code 0 transformed into a laser and flew away. The seagull was startled when he saw this and quickly flapped its wings and left. After Code 0 took the newspaper, he opened it and took a look, then returned to the plywood and handed it to Tong. Tong nodded and took it. Codename 0 is also afraid that someone will take advantage of this to plot against Tong. Caution is always a good thing. Tong lowered his head to read the message above. But when he opened it, he found 3 wanted posters inside. Tong looked curiously. Haha, Luffy, the bounty has been raised to 400 million. Luffy, let's go see him when we get a chance. I saw that the Pirate King liked this idiot a lot. And Robin and Nami, haha. After Tong giggled for a while, he shook his head and stopped thinking about these things. Then he looked at the next picture, and then he was stunned, and then he was speechless. What's so special? The second one is actually his wanted order. I saw that the wanted order had the iconic pattern of the Dawn organization painted on it. There were a few red auspicious clouds on the black robe, and the name on it said none, and finally the reward amount. Tong counted, 1, 10 millions. Tens of millions. The more he counted, the darker his face became. 100 million, 1 billion, 2 billion, billy. Exclamation, exclamation, I'll go. What else am I doing? Isn't the reward amount a little ridiculously high? It's really poisonous, just 2 billion Baileys. You must know that even one of the notorious disasters, Jack, is only 1 billion billy. After a while, Tong sighed and looked up at the sky. It's probably because the Akatsuki organization severely injured Akainu yesterday and said he could kill even celestial dragons, so he was awarded such a high bounty. The following is the reward order for members of the Akatsuki organization. No matter which member it is, the reward amount is 1 billion. Tong took a breath when he saw this. 1 billion per person? You must know that our Akatsuki organization has 3,000 members. If you add me, wouldn't the entire Akatsuki organization's bounty be as high as 3,002 billion? Tong couldn't help but burst out laughing. Ha, which force in this world can have a higher total reward amount than the Akatsuki organization? Of course, the current situation is because Marine does not know that there are 2,990 other people in his Akatsuki organization. But that's fine too. Tong showed a smile. He turned and walked into the submarine, with Code 0 following closely behind. It seems that I was right to hide my strength. I didn't expect that I would have a reward warrant so soon. It seems that we must find a way to get some people into Marine. This way, I can have first-hand information about Marine and facilitate the Akatsuki organization's operations. That's right. I remember that after the Summit War, didn't Marine hold a world recruitment? Haha, isn't this an opportunity for the Akatsuki organization to infiltrate Marine? However, life experience is a bit troublesome, so I need to think about it again. Meanwhile, around the world, Xiao'S organization's reward orders have also fallen into the hands of many people. Hey, come and see. What's wrong? The Akatsuki organization has released a reward order so quickly. Holy, you can't guess how much the first reward for the leader of the Akatsuki organization will be. It's estimated to be several hundred million. After all, this organization has just emerged. You're worth hundreds of millions. The leader of the Xiao'S organization has a bounty order of 2 billion, and his subordinates codenames 0-9 are all 1 billion. Treasure. Is the reward so high for the first time? Nonsense. People can even dare to list celestial dragons as a killer organization to be killed, and they even severely damaged Akainu yesterday. What do you think? It's so terrible. The total bounty for a killer organization is as high as 12 billion. This is really unprecedented. If Tong were here, he would probably scoff. 12 billion? Who do you look down on? The total reward amount offered by Xiao'S Xiao organization is as high as 3,002 billion. Of course, in the future, when the whole world actually sees all the members of the Akatsuki organization, their understanding will be refreshed. Xiao'S 18th anniversary brand upgrade gives back to readers. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab a deposit now. Activity time, August 10th to August 20th. Chapter 8 Conqueror and -039's Haki. Please vote for flower evaluation. Time flies so fast, and in the blink of an eye, a full week has passed since the summit war ended. Tong has been very depressed this week, but now he is very happy. What is depressing is that in the past week, although there are people who have hired Xiao organization, they are all small roles, and the highest commission they can get is only 2 million Baileys. But, as Tong said, a little adds up. After a whole week, Tong finally saved up enough 10 million Baileys to win a lottery. Tong started the lottery with full excitement. I don't know what I will draw. Tong licked his lips and said to the system in his mind, lottery. The lottery requires wealth value, 1 million points. Do you want to draw a lottery? Tong said without hesitation. Yes. As soon as he finished speaking, a huge turntable appeared in front of Tong. The carousel is packed with options. This was the first time Tong saw it, and he quickly glanced at it. On it are Emission Haki, Swordsmanship Enlightenment plus 50 years, Famous Sword, Sword of the Heavens, re-engraving fruit. But before Tong finished reading, the turntable started spinning. Hey, I haven't finished reading yet. Tong muttered, a little depressed. But the turntable continued to spin, ignoring Tong's complaints. At this time, the system said, please ask the host to stop, and the turntable will stop. Originally, Tong wanted to make predictions to see if the bug could be fixed. If the speed was average, as long as he calculated the acceleration of the subtractor of the turntable, he could finally calculate the final stop position. But Tong obviously thought too much. Helpless, Tong had no choice but to say casually, stop. The next moment, the speed of the turntable began to slow down, finally stopped at the Conqueror's Haki option. Tong wanted to take the opportunity to see what other rewards were on the wheel, but the wheel disappeared instantly. The system's voice sounded in my mind, congratulations to host, you have obtained Conqueror's Haki. For a moment, Tong felt a strange force pouring into his body. Is this Conqueror's Haki? Tong tried to use it, but his eyes froze. Immediately, an invisible force surged out from somewhere within his body. This power condensed into a cyclone and surged toward the body, spreading to the entire room, the entire submarine, and finally the sea outside the submarine. Tong quickly ran to the window and looked out. All the creatures around him fainted. Awesome! Conqueror's Haki is really good. Tong said happily that he was very satisfied with this reward. But the scope is a bit small. You must know that in One Piece, when Luffy faced 100,000 enemies on Mermaid Island 2 years later, one Conqueror's Haki could bring down 50,000 people. I am not good enough now, and I am not good at precision either. I cannot shock whoever I want at will. It seems I need more exercise. Wait until Conqueror's Haki can form a physical attack like the red-haired one, then I'll take it. Tong touched his nose, and then he suddenly discovered that as long as he concentrated, a menu interface would appear in front of him. Host, Tong currently owns Conqueror's Haki. Subordinates, Admiral level, 1 person Semi-Admiral level, 9 people Vice Admiral level and above, 990 people. Vice Admiral level, 2,000 people. The interface is simple, but for Tong it's pretty good. In this way, you can control the strength of your subordinates in real time. If someone's strength improves, he can know it immediately. Tong touched his chin and began to think about his next plan. The Marine World recruitment will be held in a week. During this time, I want to see if I can help some people get identities. Let 100 vice admirals, 10 vice admirals or above, and 1 Akatsuki member with associate admiral strength be mixed into the marine. In this way, not only can he have first-hand information, but also if the Akatsuki organization confronts Marine in the future, he will be well prepared to catch Marine off guard. You know, the current Akatsuki includes celestial dragons as its killing target. A conflict with Marine is bound to happen. Otherwise, the bounty order will not be as high as it was at the beginning. As for how to arrange the lives of these people, Tong also has plans. But it just requires a lot of funds. You must know that there are many people who are greedy for money in this world. As long as they bribe the executives there in various parts of the mainland, and then use them to forge the families and backgrounds of Akatsuki members, then there is no need to worry about marine inspection. Fortunately, after the commission received by the system is converted into wealth value, the commission will not be reduced if the wealth value is spent. This also gave Tong capital to use. But it's just a special girl who comes to hire people from the Xiao organization. So far, they have only killed some small characters. Where do they get so much money? Fortunately, Laozi also used Summit War as a promotional platform with great fanfare. Well, really, this even got me a bounty on my head. Tong currently has the urge to lead all members of Xiao to surrender. That is 3,002 billion bili. After collecting the bounty, he can escape. Just then, the subordinate responsible for answering the phone walked in. Report to the master. What's wrong? Tong said feebly because he had a headache because he was thinking about money. Someone hired us to kill a pirate named Cabri, and the commission was 200 million bili. Tong's eyes lit up immediately. I really need a pillow when I feel sleepy. Felu's 18th anniversary brand upgrade gives back to readers. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab a deposit now. Activity time, August 10th to August 20th. Chapter 9 Handover. Please vote for flower evaluation. A hiring mission of 100 million bili came, which made Tong feel good. This way I can draw 10 times and I don't know what I will get. Although the current Tong has Conqueror's Haki, he is still just an ordinary person, very weak in body and in other aspects. I don't know if I can smoke something to improve my physique. The copying fruit I saw before feels very good. I guess it can copy other people's abilities. That's right. What if I draw one ability, and then another ability? Will it be superimposed? If we talk about superposition, then it is really good. Take Blackbeard for example, a character who was originally not close to the 4 emperors. After possessing 2 fruit abilities, he directly defeated the remnants of Whitebeard led by Marco and became one of the 4 righteous sea emperors. Thinking of Blackbeard, Tong thought of another point. Now because of his intervention, Whitebeard is not dead and Blackbeard did not get the shock fruit at all. What will happen to Blackbeard next? Thinking about this, Tong had already walked outside. Then he shook his head, thinking about these things, they had nothing to do with him. Let's go meet with the employer first. Tong returned to business and ordered. Yes. Don Vice Admiral level subordinate responded, and immediately went to pilot the submarine. Tong touched his chin. By the way, who is Caribou? Although Tong is a fan of One Piece, there are so many characters in One Piece that he can't remember them all at the moment. However, this is not a problem. As long as you contact the employer will naturally tell the Xiao organization about Cabri's information. In this way, Tong was on his way to meet his employer. Now all the major forces in the New World think that the Akatsuki organization is in the New World. In fact, Tong is not in New World yet, so he quickly arrived at the meeting place. Tong summoned Codename 1 from the small world. Code 1 knelt on one knee in front of Tong in the blink of an eye and said respectfully, Master. Tong nodded and then ordered, Codename 1 is mainly responsible for this mission and Codename 0 is handling it secretly. That's right. Bring the employment agreement and ask them to sign it now. Yes. Code 0 and 1 both responded at the same time. When the submarine surfaced, the two of them turned into a laser and disappeared into the submarine. Tong stood in the submarine, quietly waiting for the two to return. The employment agreement is an agreement drawn up using the system. As long as the employer signs it, the system will create the task and wait until the task is completed to receive the full commission. The system will automatically determine that the mission is successful. Oh, it would be great if the servants had equipment to watch the live broadcast and simple communication equipment. Tong felt a little bored and muttered to himself. Without the live broadcast and communication of the phone bug, Tong would not be able to see the specific situation of the mission at all. But when the subordinates are performing tasks, it is impossible to have a phone bug at all times, which would be very troublesome. In the submarine, Tong was talking to himself boldly, while the joint locations Code 0 and Code 1 had arrived. However, only Codename 1 appeared, and Codename 0 was hidden in the dark, just in case. In front of Code 1 stood a middle-aged man wearing a crown. Although he was middle-aged, his face was full of vicissitudes of life. There was a minister beside him, and a dozen soldiers behind him. The moment Code 1 appeared, the dozens of soldiers behind them looked panicked, and all of them clenched the spears in their hands. The king and ministers also had nervous expressions on their faces. There is no way. The emergence of the Dawn organization is so vigorous and violent that it shocks the world. Moreover, Codename 1 is 2 meters tall, wearing a black robe and a black smiling mask, which really gives people a weird feeling. They are just ordinary people, and Code 1 makes them breathless just standing there. Codename 1 didn't care about this, and said in a calm voice, "Which of you is the employer of this mission?" The king swallowed, suppressed the throbbing in his heart, and said slowly, "It's me." "Yes." Code 1 nodded, then took out the employment agreement from his sleeve and said leisurely, "The employer will sign here and bring the deposit as well." The minister on the side whispered into the king's ear, "Your Majesty, let me go up and sign for you. You are the master of a country and your safety must be guaranteed." Codename 1 is a person with quasi-admiral level strength. Naturally, he could hear their conversation and said calmly, "It can only be signed by the employer himself." Everyone was stunned when they heard this, and then the minister looked dissatisfied. "You must know that the king has a distinguished status. He and others are now protected by soldiers. If he comes forward and the other party takes action directly, it will be too late for him and others to protect him. It has to be said that the minds of ordinary people are limited. Even now, as long as Code 1 wants to take action against them, the other party will be dead with just a thought. Hundreds of soldiers are useless, let alone a dozen soldiers." The king winked at the minister and told him not to say anything, as it would not be good if he offended the Akatsuki member in front of him. "Let me sign it." After saying that, he walked towards Code number 1. But the minister still wanted to stop him. The king shouted sharply, "We can only sink the boat. The country is in crisis. If we delay for a few seconds, the people will suffer for a few seconds." The minister was speechless and could only pray that the Xiao organization would not be blinded by the money and just take the money and leave. Codename 1 brought the employment agreement to the king, and then asked the king for a deposit. The king exhaled, handed the deposit to Code 1, and implored, "I hope Xiao can abide by the rules." Codename 1 ignored it and handed the employment agreement to the king, then took the deposit from him and began to inspect it. Code 1 has observation Haki. After just a quick glance, he confirmed that there was no problem with the 50 million Bailey deposit. After the king signed the agreement, he said calmly, "Is there a location for the mission target?" Everyone behind them breathed a sigh of relief when they saw that the Xiao organization was still following the rules. The king was secretly relieved, handed the employment agreement to Code 1, and said, "In our country's mailing bar. Across the way is Logia marsh fruit, sir. Please be careful." That guy is very powerful, and his brother and his subordinates are all strong. Our army has been defeated. And that guy's methods are extremely cruel. Sir, are you the only one? Do you need me to send some soldiers to help? Only halfway through his words, Codename 1 turned into a laser and disappeared in front of everyone. Everyone was stunned. Before he could react, there was an explosion in the distance. This is the fight? Your Majesty, does it mean that the Akatsuki member has arrived in our country? The king was also non-committal. It's impossible. This place is more than 10 kilometers away from our country. Shall we go back and take a look? Feilu's 18th anniversary brand upgrade gives back to readers. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab a deposit now. Activity time, August 10th to August 20th. Chapter 10, a request from the king. Please vote for flower evaluation. This side of Mailing Tavern. Code 1 laser blasted the entire building away. He had already determined from what he had seen and heard that all of this generation was occupied by this group of pirates. Among the ruins, the wet-haired caribou turned into a swamp and slowly emerged from the ruins. His younger brother, Crib, also pushed away the building that was pressing on him in some embarrassment. Asshole! Caribou yelled angrily, who dares to sneak attack us? Is it the trash from the king's army? It seems they haven't learned enough lessons, boss. Suddenly, a younger brother pointed to the sky and said, "Look at the sky." The two brothers looked toward the sky. I saw code number 1 suspended in the void, with a fluttering black robe, looking extremely chic. The laser fruit can be suspended in the air through projection as long as a shooting point is placed on the ground. Black robe, black smiley mask. Isn't this the Akatsuki organization that knocked down Admiral at the Marine headquarters before? All the pirates exclaimed. I'll go. Why did Xiao appear here? The pirate boys were a little scared when they saw this. What are you afraid of? Caribou ordered his subordinates. In that war, only 9 people defeated Akainu, and they succeeded only through a sneak attack. Have you forgotten? 2 of them were blocked by Akainu. That's all the strength is. Hey! Caribou stuck out his long tongue. I am also a Logia fruit. Am I still afraid of Akatsuki? When the younger brothers heard this, they couldn't help but feel that it made sense. There is no doubt that many people in the pirate world have impressive intelligence. Boss, Xiao will send 1 person. You and Vice Captain Crib can definitely defeat him together. Caribou licked it with his slender tongue and said with a smile, "That's enough for me alone." Hey. After saying that, he transformed into a swamp and quickly attacked towards Code 1. The swamp was like a huge wave. Boss, that's awesome. Swallow this guy and let's go to Marine to exchange for the 1 billion Billy bounty. This way we will be prosperous. Haha, maybe we don't have to wait until 2 years later. As long as we defeat this guy, we can go to the new world now. Caribou laughed playfully. Just watch and see how I swallow this guy. As long as I escort him to Marine, maybe I can become a Shichibu. But before he finished speaking, Code 1 transformed into a laser, which penetrated Caribou's chest in just the blink of an eye. Caribou spat out a mouthful of blood. Others were still chanting for the boss, but before they could react, Caribou fell down. There was silence. When everyone reacted, they all looked horrified. I go. A split second. Boss Caribou fell like this. The swamp like a huge wave disappeared, which also meant that Caribou had lost consciousness or was dead. Run. Run quickly. The Akatsuki organization is too powerful. With just 1 move, I killed the boss instantly. The boss is a Logia fruit user. He was instantly killed. Don't we need to talk about it? The Akatsuki organization's ability to defeat Admiral is really not just a boast. It's really powerful. The pirates screamed in terror and fled frantically. Crib stared blankly at his brother, whose life or death was uncertain, feeling chilled in his heart. Code 1 turned to look at him. Just this glance made him fall to the ground. Don't kill me. Don't kill me, he kept backing away, and there was still a smell in the air. Code 1 directly picked up Caribou's body. Yes, it was a corpse. Codename 1 killed it instantly with just one blow, without any mercy. Codename 1 ignored Crib at all. He was only responsible for the goals in the employment agreement and ignored everything else. It transformed into a laser again and flew away from the place. On the other side, the king and others were still on their way back to their country. He hadn't even run 2 kilometers on horseback when he saw that code number 1 had returned to him. I saw code 1 throwing Caribou's body directly in front of the king. Everyone was shocked at first, and then they were shocked when they saw clearly that it was Caribou's body. This is killing? You haven't left for a minute, have you? Everyone swallowed and looked at the code number 1 in front of them. Looking at the black smiling mask, they felt like a devil from hell. Xiao, the organization is really powerful. You know, those who can offer a bounty of over 100 million are not simple pirates. But after going back and forth, excluding the time on the road, the battle should not even last a minute, right? Thinking of this, everyone swallowed again. Codename 1 said calmly, "The employment you entrusted has been completed. Next, the other half of the commission will be replenished." The king recovered from the shock, of course. "But we didn't expect you, sir, to be so powerful and to get rid of Caribou so quickly. The other half of the commission is in the palace. You may have to wait for a while." After hearing the words, code number 1 stepped forward and grabbed the king with one hand. "Sir, what are you doing?" the king asked in surprise. The ministers and subordinates were all shocked, and then they all took out their weapons. "What are you going to do to the king?" Let's go. Although he yelled fiercely, he seemed to lack confidence. "I will take the king directly back to get the money." After that, he took the king and flew towards the palace. Everyone looked at each other, and they couldn't stop him, so they had to rush back to the palace. In the sky, in order to allow the king to withstand the pressure, Code 1 did not fly very fast. In the area passing by Mailing Tavern, the king saw that the tavern had been reduced to ruins and that all the pirates in Caribou were gone. This scene made him feel relieved, who had been always on tenterhooks. I couldn't help but utter a heartfelt words, "Thank you. Our Xiao organization only takes money to do things. We have nothing to thank," Codename 1 said calmly. "Haha," the king smiled noncommittally. "Whether it's money or not, at least you helped us. We have contacted Marine many times, but so far there is not even a trace. We even said we were willing to pay for Marine's expedition." But the king did not continue speaking and just sighed. With thoughts swirling around, Code 1 had already brought the king back to the palace. Nowadays, the king is no longer afraid of Code Name 1. He smiled and said, "Sir, please wait here for a while. I will go get the money right away." Soon the king returned to Code 1 with a large bag of things. Then something unexpected happened. The king opened the bag. It was full of gold and silver jewelry, and then he knelt down. He said loudly, "Sir, can I use all the property of our country in exchange for Xiao to defend our country?" A generation of kings kneels in front of code number 1. Felu's 18th anniversary brand upgrade gives back to readers. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab a deposit now. Activity time, August 10th to August 20th. Chapter 11. The first step in playing chess. Please vote for flower evaluation. The black smiling mask on Code 1 face made it difficult to see his expression clearly. The king knelt on the ground, very sincere. Our kingdom of Arthur is a small country with low military strength. Due to Marines' inaction, it has been plundered by pirates for many years, and the people are all living in dire straits. So, I hope that our country can be included in the power of the Akatsuki organization and use the name of Akatsuki to protect the tranquility of our country. The Akatsuki organization is powerful enough to intimidate most pirates in the world. This is all the savings of our country. If it is not enough, I will organize a national tax until you are satisfied. The king's head hit the ground hard. Codename 1 stood in front of him without saying a word. Please, let the people of this country be freed. Kick, kick, kick. Code 1 stepped forward and picked up the 5,000 W Bailey. The employment task has been completed and the commission has been delivered. The voice was still calm, without any emotion at all. After saying that, Code 1 turned around and left. Xiao members will only listen to Yi Tong alone, without Yi Tong's words, and now he is only responsible for completing this task. That's all. The king raised his head, his forehead was already red, and he looked at the back of Code No. 1 as he left, showing a sense of powerlessness. Could it be that the kingdom of Arthur is doomed to never have peace? King Arthur lowered his head in despair. At this moment, a voice suddenly sounded. Are you the employer of this mission? King Arthur raised his head in a daze and saw another Akatsuki member. He could clearly feel that this name was even more powerful than the previous codename 1, but the person speaking was not code number 0, but the phone bug in his hand. Xiao, the leader of the organization? King Arthur guessed in his heart, and then he quickly said respectfully, Yes, I am the employer this time, Arthur Xiao, the 10th king of the kingdom of Arthur. Yi Tong on the other side of the phone murmured, I really didn't expect that this time the employer was actually a king. I just saw the target of this mission. It turned out to be the wet-haired man. I didn't expect that hot chick to dance like this. The king looked embarrassed when he heard this. Hot chicken? People also ask, is the Logia fruit good, but why is it so spicy? Then I thought that codename 1 had killed Capri in less than a minute, and I felt helpless. Well, in the eyes of the Xiao organization, he is indeed a hot chick. The king stopped thinking about this and was very happy to be able to talk to Yi Tong. He originally thought that codename 1 was so powerful that he should be the leader of Akatsuki, but he didn't expect that there was someone else behind him. How powerful would this person be? The king did not dare to think about it, and he said sincerely again, Mr. Wu, our country's low strength makes you laugh. That's why I hope that our country can be brought under the influence of the Akatsuki organization and find some peace. He listening to Yi Tong's non-committal laughter, the king quickly added, All the treasures of our country can be given to you. I have also told the other gentlemen that if it is not enough, we can make up for it, as long as we can no longer be plundered by pirates. I believe the people are very willing. Yi Tong had a naughty look on his face. Aren't you afraid that after joining my organization, your country won't be able to bear the annual offerings I ask for? The king was stunned after hearing this. This is true. He didn't think it through well. If Xiao'S requirements were too high, the country would not be able to develop at all. After a moment, King Arthur seemed to have made a decision, and said firmly, I believe Mr. None, just like the other gentleman just now, I took out all the treasures, and you took what belongs to you. That portion, nothing else can move. So, I believe you. Haha, you are really an idiot, Yi Tong said with a smile. King Arthur, the Xiao organization is a killer organization, and it will not incorporate any forces on the surface. Just give up, Yi Tong said. After hearing this, King Arthur's expression darkened again. However, there will be 100 outsiders coming to this country by then. I also hope that the king can treat them as his own people, people of his own country. Yi Tong chuckled lightly and then stopped saying, Codename 0. Codename 1 mission is completed, come back. Yes. Code 1 and Code 0 responded and then left the palace. In the palace, only the dull King Arthur remained. After a while, King Arthur was overjoyed. He said loudly in the direction of the 2 members of Akatsuki who were leaving, Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. King Arthur understood what Yi Tong meant and kept thanking him. Although he didn't know why Wu sent these 100 people to the kingdom of Arthur, he didn't want to think about the reason. As long as there are people from the Akatsuki organization here, peace will come to the kingdom of Arthur. King Arthur chose to trust his own intuition. In this desperate era, people always like to grasp at the only straw that can pull them toward the light. Just when King Arthur was about to get up, code number 0 came back. Arthur Kyle was stunned and asked doubtfully, "Sir, do you have any other orders?" I saw code number 0 walking up to the pile of treasures and picking up 1/4 of the treasures. Then he nodded to Arthur Kyle and left again. Arthur Joe, after a long time, Arthur Kyle smiled heartily and happily. The long-lost laughter vented the grievances he had felt over the years. On the submarine side, Tong crossed his legs leisurely. The background of the 100 subordinates has been figured out, and that Arthur Kyle will definitely not let me down. Tong trusts his intuition about people. After all, he was a headhunter before time travel. In this way, when the marine world recruits troops, as long as Arthur Kyle submits a recruitment response to the world government first, 100 of his subordinates can join Marine. Tong sent 1 Brigadier General, 49 Vice Admiral level and above strength, and finally 50 Vice Admiral level subordinates. As long as they perform well, these people will soon occupy high positions within Marine. In this way, Tong will have his own chess piece in Marine headquarters. Haha, if you play chess in one piece and show your cards later, will it shock the world? Everyone can be a chess player, but in the end there is only one winner. Soon, Codename 1 and Codename 0 returned to the submarine. Hand over the treasure and commission you just took to Tong. Tong nodded. This treasure and commission will be used as my capital for playing chess. Hey. Putting these things away, Tong returned to his room. After sitting on his seat, he looked at the system interface. I saw that the wealth value column was already 100 million points. Tong said happily to himself, "I don't know what I can draw." Feilu's 18th anniversary brand upgrade gives back to readers. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab a deposit now. Activity time, August 10th to August 20th. Chapter 12, 100 million wealth points lottery. Please vote for flower evaluation. Now Tong's wealth value has reached 100 million points. Enough for him to draw 10 draws. Tong rubbed his palms and exhaled in each palm. The system smokes no, it's a lottery. The plate loading appeared again, and Tong found that the option drawn last time was filled with another option. The turntable spun again and soon, ding, congratulations to host for obtaining observation Haki. Continue. Tong knew this very well and did not have the joy of giving it a try, so he continued to draw the lottery. Ding. Congratulations to host for getting armament Haki. Tong couldn't help but cursed secretly, damn. Can't we come with something else? The most basic thing like Haki, you won't be interested in it if you win Conqueror's Haki already exists. I don't believe it will be Haki next time. Tong cursed. Keep going ding. Congratulations to host for obtaining emission Haki. Tong, continue. Ding. Congratulations to host, you got Demon King's evil eye. Tong's originally sluggish spirit was lifted, and he asked happily, "System, what is this?" The next moment, the introduction about Demon King's evil eye appeared in front of Tong. Evil eye of the Demon King, the owner can open the right eye of the Demon King and expand his own absolute domain. Having all these abilities in the absolute domain can increase the power by 20% with a radius of 100 meters around the body, and the duration is 1 minute. Time, range and increase value can be increased with the improvement of skill level. In other words, this is a buff skill. Tong murmured in his heart, then nodded to himself. It's not bad, isn't it? Can the skill level be improved? Tong saw the last sentence, what about Haki before? Tong then quickly looked at the introduction of the 4 types of Haki, and all of them can be improved without any accident. So I don't need to practice at all, I can just upgrade and become stronger. Thinking of this, Tong asked, "System, how to upgrade skills?" Soon, the system answered in his mind, there are many types of skills to upgrade. The first type can be trained by oneself. The second type can be upgraded by relying on wealth value. The specific upgrade details are mainly based on skills, and various skill upgrades are different. When the same skills are obtained from 3 draws, they can be combined. Not bad, not bad. Tong was full of praise. Sure enough, the system's product must be a high-quality product. Originally, Tong thought that after acquiring skills, you still need to practice by yourself. You must know that things like Haki have levels, and the fruit abilities are also developed separately. Tong still had a headache at the beginning. It took time to practice, and he had to go through hundreds of battles and go through countless hells to become stronger, but now he doesn't need it at all. Tong put aside his half-dead look and continued to draw the lottery. Ding! Congratulations on getting spiritual communication, soul communication. You can have spiritual conversations with people who are loyal to you at any time. After reading the introduction, Tong gave his own understanding. In other words, you can call people who are loyal to you at any time as long as you want. Yeah. Tong nodded. Loyal minister is the key point. Hee. Let me try it. Tong smiled cheaply, then closed his eyes and began to try psychic communication. A subtle feeling appeared in Tong's consciousness, and he saw many light spots in a chaotic universe. These are probably his subordinates. Tong guessed, but these are not the main things. Then Tong started thinking about a person in his mind, Arthur Xiao. Arthur Zhou, do you hear that? In the palace, Arthur Zhou is moving the remaining treasures into the treasure house. Suddenly I heard someone calling me. Arthur Xiao glanced back, but there was no one around. Is it my imagination? Arthur Xiao shook his head. Oh. It seems that I have been too tired recently. With that nobleman's help this time, I think I can save my worries in the future. But the voice came again. Arthur Zhou, do you hear that? Arthur Xiao raised his eyebrows slightly. Yes, who is talking? It's me. Arthur Xiao carefully distinguished the voice. The voice was plain, but it exuded a kind of formidable meaning. I quickly remembered, isn't this the voice of Wu, the boss of the Xiao organization? Mr. None? Arthur Xiao who asked. Tong replied simply, but it made Arthur Xiao's heart skip a beat. Are you in the palace now? I'm so sorry. I didn't know you were in the palace. I will immediately summon the ministers to host a banquet for you. No, I'm not in the palace. Arthur Xiao looked confused. No longer in the palace. Then why can I hear Mr. Nun's voice? Could it be that this is his ability? While Arthur Xiao was guessing, he then said respectfully, Mr. Wu, what do you want from me? It's okay. I just learned this new skill recently and will try out the effect. Tong said it casually, but Arthur Xiao was slightly shocked after hearing what he said. Did Mr. Wu mean to gain new abilities? No way. Could it be said that he has more than one fruit ability? It should be impossible. Until now, I have never heard of anyone having the ability to have 2 fruits. And I heard that if you eat 2 devil fruits, you will die. Could it be that this is not a fruit power, but a supernatural power that transcends nature? Arthur Xiao was shocked again when he thought of this. How powerful is this mysterious boss behind the Akatsuki organization? Tong ignored what Arthur Xiao wanted to write and continued. It seems that this ability is pretty good at the moment, so that's it for now. Arthur Xiao heard that Tong meant not to continue talking to him, and he just wanted to say goodbye to Tong. I heard Tong's serious voice saying, that's right. You will be responsible for assigning an identity to those 100 people at that time. There should not be any doubtful identities. It proves that they grew up in the kingdom of Arthur since they were young. There is no stain. Seeing Tong's serious tone, Arthur Xiao did not dare to neglect him at all. Don't worry, Mr. Kong, I promise to satisfy you. Yeah. Tong nodded and cut off the contact. Tong pressed the joints in his hands and made a pop sound. Yes. This is very useful. In this way, it can not only be used for communication, not to be afraid of being intercepted by others, but also to determine whether they are loyal to you. This skill kills 2 birds with 1 stone. After Tong tried the psychic communication skill, there were still 5 draws left. Soon, the turntable stopped spinning again. Ding! Congratulations to host for getting exchange fruit Tong. Change fruit. What the hell kind of fruit is this? Feilu's 18th anniversary brand upgrade gives back to readers. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab a deposit now. Activity time, August 10th to August 20th. Chapter 13 Change the fruit. Please vote for flower evaluation. After Tong used 50 million wealth points to draw 5 times, he must have 4 colors of Haki, plus a buff skill and a skill that can communicate and determine loyalty. After that, when I continued to draw, I got exchange fruit. This fruit made Tong really confused. Can you exchange the fruits of your abilities with others? Tong looked at the introduction with doubts. Switch fruit. As the name suggests, it is a fruit that can switch its own abilities at will. Currently, only 3 fruit abilities can be stored, and when using one of the fruit abilities, you cannot switch to another fruit ability. Attributes can change with upgrades. The shock in Tong's heart was condensed into 2 words: awesome. This fruit is really awesome. That is to say, with this fruit, you can eat the other 3 fruits, and then you can switch the abilities of these 3 fruits to one of them at will. Just thinking about it makes me crazy. Tong touched his chin. It seems I have to think carefully about which fruit abilities I should collect next. Thinking of this, Tong had another question. By the way, system, what should I do if I don't want to after gaining the fruit ability? The system's voice soon sounded. The fruit ability is given by the system. If the host doesn't want it, it can extract it and convert it into a fruit. However, if the host eats it after being transformed into a fruit, it will no longer be able to be extracted. Tong nodded understandingly. This is not bad. I can choose on my own. Otherwise, if I draw a useless fruit in the lottery, wouldn't it be a huge loss? And it can be seen from this that even the fruit abilities given by the system cannot be superimposed. Tong no longer hesitated and continued to draw the lottery. Ding! Get the vision sharing skill. This skill is similar to psychic communication, except this time you can see other people's perspectives. These 2 skills completely solved Tong's previous troubles in live broadcast and communication. The turntable continues to turn. Ding! Get 50 years of Kendo enlightenment. Ding! Get intermediate physical strengthening. Ding! Get intermediate physical strengthening. Host has 2 intermediate physical enhancements that can be fused into intermediate and upper level physical enhancements. Do you want to fuse them? Fusion. The next moment, Tong only felt that the muscles all over his body were stronger and his strength was much stronger than before. So far, this 100 million mission has greatly increased Tong's strength. Now he is at least stronger than Vice Admiral, and the current ability to change fruits is not included. After all, Tong has no other fruits. But that's enough. Tong has no plans to show his face in front of everyone yet, so it's okay to have some lack of strength. Not only is it a gain, this time also allows Tong to make his first move on the big chessboard of the One Piece world. Now, with these 100 subordinates stationed outside, I can also travel to other places. And the place where the powerful pirate kings gather is undoubtedly the New World. In this way, Akatsuki's submarine slowly sailed towards New World. At the same time that Tong left, several figures in the Kingdom of Arthur also left the Kingdom of Arthur. One of them said, "President, do you need to come out in person?" Nonsense, the Akatsuki organization is now the focus of the world. Marine, 4 emperors and other powerful forces are all watching. How can we miss such news? We can track their whereabouts this time. Just watch, with my help, this report will definitely shock the world. The next day, Siegel distributed newspapers to all parts of the world as usual, and the headline on the front page of this newspaper was the news about the Xiao organization's killing of Capri. The newspaper shocked the world as soon as it came out. Has the Akatsuki organization finally started taking action? Did you see it? Just one blow killed the Logia fruit user. Isn't this strength too terrifying? The 9 people attacked Akainu before. I thought they had no strength. I didn't expect it to be so powerful. Have you noticed that the current movement of the Akatsuki organization is to head to the New World? By the way, have you heard about Marine's relocation of its headquarters this time? Is Marine's core power finally entering the New World? Perhaps because of the defeat in this war, Marine is really going to take action this time. This is intended to shock the New World. I guess it is to make it easier to arrest the Akatsuki organization. You must know that Marine released the news after Akatsuki released the news this time. Hey, I'm telling you, you can't tell others. What's the matter? I heard that Celestial Dragons has given Marine a death order. If he encounters the Akatsuki organization, he will kill him. Yeah, I've heard that too. In fact, I quite hope to see the Akatsuki organization kill a Celestial Dragons. These guys are aloof and don't treat us as human beings. Hey, do you want to die? How dare you say such things, New World, Whitebeard Pirates. On the ship, Whitebeard has been bedridden for many days now. When he came back from that battle, his injuries were even more serious. Next to the window in the room, Ace withdrew his gaze and looked out the window, seeing the rolling waves of the blue sea. After a while, he said, "This time it was all because of my insistence on going my own way and overestimating my capabilities that I had to capture Blackbeard alone, which led to the outbreak of the Summit War." Marco also looked out the window. "Actually, I can't blame you. If you didn't go, I would have gone back. Blackbeard, this bastard, actually killed for dark fruit." Marco paused and did not mention the name. This was the pain of the Whitebeard Pirates. At this time, a newspaper was delivered to the 2 people. On the front page of the newspaper he ran was the news of yesterday's action by the Xiao'S organization. Shocked, the Akatsuki organization is dispatched. With just one strike, one person killed a Logia fruit user with a bounty of hundreds of millions. Marco looked at the newspaper for a long time and said, "I plan to hire the Akatsuki organization to kill Blackbeard." At this time, Whitebeard's voice came. "This is a matter between our Whitebeard Pirates and Blackbeard. How can it be inappropriate to hire an outsider? I'm not dead yet. When I recover, I will beat out of Blackbeard." Gulu gulu, tilde. Marco and Ace sensed something was wrong, and quickly looked over and saw Whitebeard lying on the bed, drinking from a bottle of wine. The 2 were shocked and cursed. "Dad, you are so seriously injured, how can you drink?" "Too la, injuries are nothing. Have I, Whitebeard, experienced too little pain in this life?" But as soon as he finished speaking, the wine jar was smashed to the ground. Dad, the 2 men shouted hurriedly. Ship's doctor, ship's doctor." The ship's doctor quickly came to diagnose Whitebeard and then shook his head helplessly. "Oh, the injury will gradually get worse." Everyone was silent. Marco's eyes flickered. "Damn Blackbeard. If there is anything wrong with Dad, I will definitely hire Xiao and join forces with them to destroy you." Dressrosa. Doflamingo looked at the newspaper and showed a devilish smile. "The killer organization. If those guys still dare to mess around, then I will try hiring a killer organization." Ha 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 ha, something new. Felu's 18th anniversary brand upgrade gives back to readers. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab a deposit now. Activity time, August 10th to August 20th. Chapter 14. The hand gradually reaches out to the world. Please vote for flower evaluation. Inside the submarine, Tong took the newspaper handed over by code number 0, glanced at it, and then frowned. Yesterday's mission of the Akatsuki organization was actually released today. In other words, someone was watching the Akatsuki organization yesterday. Morgan C. Tong murmured to himself, then chuckled. "This stupid bird is good at being a paparazzi." But Yi Tong is not very worried, because there is no other news except the report on yesterday's killing of Capri in the newspaper. It also shows that the bird did not know that he had sent people to sneak into the kingdom of Arthur. As for the movement of the Akatsuki organization preparing to go to the New World written on it, he must have added his own guess in order to attract attention. As long as my first move is not exposed, nothing else matters. This is also to better serve the Xiao organization and make yourself stronger. Tong crossed his legs and looked relaxed. Putting the newspaper aside, a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. It just so happened that Xiao could take advantage of this exposure. Tong turned to look at Code Zero and asked, Code Zero, do you believe that in a while, we will have an endless stream of employment tasks? Code Zero thought for a while and said respectfully, Master, I don't think so. After all, there are still no employment tasks despite such high-profile publicity before. Tong stood up, glanced at Code Zero, shook his head and said, Code Zero, you are wrong. Looking at the code name Zero with confusion, Tong smiled and said, after the exposure of this mission, it is undoubtedly an advertisement for the reputation of our Xiao organization. The Xiao organization's vigorous and resolute work style and the attitude of doing things according to the rules will eventually turn into a thought. As long as the money is given, the Xiao organization will definitely complete the employment task. It will be imprinted in the minds of the world. In this way, those people who are still afraid or on the sidelines will begin to contact our Akatsuki organization. Soon, our Akatsuki organization will receive an endless stream of employment tasks. As soon as Tong finished speaking, the subordinate in charge of wiring came to report, Master, the number of employees has suddenly increased. I can't handle it. Tong nodded to indicate that he understood and said, I will arrange people to assist you later. After the operator stepped back, Code Zero was filled with admiration. Just as the master said, those who were still afraid at first started to hire the Akatsuki organization after they learned that the Akatsuki organization would not take advantage of others. Tong stood up, stretched, then patted Code Zero on the shoulder and said, I'm going back to my room. I need to complete the internal operations of the Akatsuki organization now. Only in this way can we become a formidable force, yes. Tong stepped back to the room. Now, except for the 100 subordinates who plan to sneak into Marine, Tong still has admiral strength, but he is not strong enough yet, so Code Zero must stay with him. In other words, there are 8 subordinates with quasi-admiral level strength, 941 vice-admiral level and above strength, and 1950 vice-admiral level strength. As time slowly passed, the Xiao organization, under the arrangement of Tong, began to have a clear division of labor like an organization and was gradually entering the state. 3 vice-admiral level subordinates are responsible for wiring and organizing employment tasks. However, Tong discovered a problem. Although Xiao now has more employment tasks, the quality of the task site's a bit unbearable to look at. Tong even wanted to swear. For example, an employer issued a recruitment task to the Akatsuki organization, and the target was a pirate with a bounty of 146 million baileys, and the employer offered 50 million. If it weren't for the sake of maintaining the reputation of the Xiao organization, Tong planned to kill this brainless guy directly. Xiao can organizations be deceived? After this incident, Tong arranged for 2 people to be responsible for selecting employment information, and all unreasonable employment information was eliminated. In order to exaggerate the influence of the Xiao organization, Tong began to establish branches of the Xiao organization. Tong established 3 branches of the Xiao organization, each led by 2 quasi-admiral level people. It has 235 people with vice-admiral level or above strength, and 486 vice-admiral level people. The 3 major branches are free to lurk outside, and are mainly responsible for employment tasks between 10 million and 100 million bili in the 4 sea areas. Specifically, which branch is closest to the task location will be responsible for the employment task. The Xiao headquarters was led by Tong to the New World. It has an admiral code named 1, 2 quasi-admirals, 236 vice-admiral level or above, and 487 vice-admiral level subordinates. The hands of Yi Tong's Akatsuki organization began to extend outward, and were slowly spreading throughout the entire pirate world. 2 days have passed since a series of things were arranged. It's not far from arriving at the second half of the Grand Line New World. At this time, Yi Tong was sitting in his seat in a daze. He plans to go to Mermaid Island and see the mermaid princess Shirahoshi. Until now in One Piece, I have never seen what a mermaid looks like. At this moment, Codename Zero knocked on the door and walked in. "Report, Master." Yi Tong looked at him and asked, "What?" An employer named Z sent an employment task to Xiao, and the employment amount is directly 500 million Billy. 500 million Baileys. Yi Tong frowned and then asked, "Who is the mission target?" "Elward Weeble. A guy who calls himself Whitebeard Roman 2. This name plus the employer's name is Z." Yi Tong immediately thought of one person, Black Arm Zephyr. Yi Tong remembers that it was only 2 years after the Summit War that the bounty on Edward Weibel reached 48,000 Billy. Now his bounty is only 300 million, but Black Arm Zephyr hired Xiao with 500 million. Yi Tong frowned, vaguely feeling that something was wrong. Because of hate? But it shouldn't be, because as long as the commission and bounty are equal, the Akatsuki organization will take over the employment task. But Zephyr directly offered 500 million, which was a full 200 million more. I'm afraid it had other purposes. Although he felt that Zephyr's purpose was a bit impure, Yi Tong still chose to go to the meeting point. Xiao, the strength of the organization is not something that the new Marine can compete with head-on. If there is really any evil intention, then destroy it directly. Yi Tong touched his nose. 500 million employment fees means that you have 500 million wealth points and can be drawn 50 times. Thinking of this, Yi Tong couldn't help but raise the corners of his mouth. I'm just afraid that this time I will become stronger. Feilu's 18th anniversary brand upgrade gives back to readers. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab a deposit now. Activity time, August 10th to August 20th. Chapter 15 Zetakes Enthusiasm. Please vote for flower evaluation. While Yi Tong went to hand over to Zephyr, Marine was already working on relocating its headquarters, and the Marine headquarters settled in New World G1. Originally this was after Akainu became the Marshal, but due to Yi Tong's disruption, Marine moved it forward. Today, Marshal Marine is still Sengoku. In the Marshal's mansion, a soldier hurriedly came to report. "Report to the Marshal." Sengoku stopped feeding the sheep and asked, "What's wrong?" Ma Linfen Duo was attacked by unknown forces. What? Sengoku was shocked. The headquarters had just been moved. Why was the old location taken over? What's the situation? The other party's purpose does not seem to be to attack our Marine. Marine's casualties were not serious, but after an investigation, a batch of explosive rocks was lost in the warehouse. Sengoku frowned. Dynamite rock. An unknown force. Could it be said to be the Akatsuki organization? But what do they want dynamite rock to do? No matter what, the power of explosive rock is huge, so we still need to pay attention to it. Order to search him. Sengoku said solemnly. Yes. That's right. The other explosive rocks must be strictly guarded. These things are very powerful. If they fall into the hands of criminals, I'm afraid it will cause a catastrophe. Yes. After several days of sailing, Yi Tong is finally arriving at the connecting point, Second Island. Yi Tong looked at the island in front of him. A huge volcano stood up in the middle of the island. Yi Tong remembered the plot in One Piece the movie. In the movie version of The Strongest Enemy Z, this island seems to be called one of the endpoints, and the other 2 islands are End Island and Second Island. Zephyr wants to destroy these 3 islands and end the new world. Yi Tong's eyes were deep and he said calmly, "You will be responsible for handing over the code number 0 this time. The other 2 code names are 8, and you will be responsible for hiding in the dark to prevent accidents at any time. This employer is not a simple one. He is the former Marine Admiral known as Black Arm Zephyr. Although he said this, Tong's face was very calm. He wanted to see if this Zephyr had the guts to have other thoughts about the Akatsuki organization. Yes. Codename 1 and Codename 8 turned around and left the submarine, heading to join Zephyr. After the two left, Tong thought for a while and summoned Codename 9 from the small world. When Code 9 appeared in front of him, Tong said to Code 9, "Code 9, you wear casual clothes and sneak into the town to look for Zinshen Marine's subordinates. It's best to be two of Zephyr's subordinates, one female and one male. What are their names?" I forgot. Tong touched his chin, thinking hard, and finally remembered and said, "One is called AI Yin and the other is Binzi. Be careful, both of them are ability users. AI Yin is a retrogression fruit that can rewind the time of objects, while the other one is a lush fruit that can control the rapid growth of nearby plants. If you encounter them, follow them. If Zephyr pulls some tricks, you will subdue them." "Yes, Master." Code 9 finished speaking and also left the submarine. After arranging all this, Tong sat on the sofa and closed his eyes. Visual sharing was turned on and switched to the perspective of Code 0. Codename 0 came to a wilderness. There are dense trees all around, and there is a towering cliff directly in front. The meeting place is here, but no one has seen Zephyr. Code 0 stood still, two red lights flashed under the black smiling mask, and then looked towards the top of the cliff. The towering cliff makes it impossible to see the situation above clearly, but observation Haki has clearly stated that there are people above. Ha 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 ha. At this time, a sharp laugh resounded through the sky, followed by a roaring sound that broke through the air. The next moment, there was a bang and cracks appeared in the ground extending towards the feet of Codename 0. But Code 0 remained motionless. When the dust settled, Zephyr appeared in front of Code 0. The soles of his feet were already broken. In the submarine, Tong rolled his eyes and pretended to be cool when he appeared. The Akatsuki organization is worthy of being able to knock down Admiral. Observation Haki can actually detect this far. Zephyr laughed. "No need to be polite, Mr. C." Code 0 said calmly. "Have you brought the deposit and mission target information?" Zephyr's expression was unclear under his sunglasses, and he could only be heard sneering. "Don't be so cold, of course you're wearing it." After saying that, he slowly walked towards Code 0 and said with a smile as he walked, "And of the 50% deposit you requested, I also brought an extra 50 million. A total of 300 million will be given to you first." Tong frowned. There was something wrong with this guy smiling so brightly and being so enthusiastic. People who like to laugh are usually so evil that they may have sinister thoughts in their hearts. Code 0 asked 3 Tong's psychic communication. "Master, what should I do?" Tong looked indifferent and said, "Take it. This is ours. It doesn't matter if you give it first or later. Even if he gives us more, you can still take it." "Why are you being polite to him?" "They insisted on giving it to us, but we didn't steal it. Don't give it up for free." Tong doesn't care at all. Once the mission is over, the cooperation between the two parties will be terminated, and then everyone will go back to their respective homes to find their respective mothers. If there is any plot against the Dawn organization, Tong has already arranged a series of backup plans, and Code 9 will immediately capture the 2 Zephyr students. Akatsuki won't lose to the freshman Marine when facing him head-on, but he is also prepared for everything when playing dirty, and he is not afraid at all. Codename 0 handed the employment agreement to Zephyr, and then took the target information and deposit from him. Just like what Zephyr said, the deposit is 300 million Bili. He is not lying. Zephyr took the employment agreement, took a look at it, and said with a smile, "The Xiao'S organization is quite professional, and they even signed the agreement." Code 0 did not respond to Zephyr and said to himself, Sign with your real name, not your new name, see. Zephyr was stunned when he heard this, but soon returned to smiling. The fact that he is a Marine Admiral is not a secret. Anyone with more power will know it. Zephyr didn't say anything, just finished signing the employment agreement. The next moment, Tong's system prompted, "The establishment mission is completed. Kill Edward Weibel, reward, 500 million wealth value." Felu's 18th anniversary brand upgrade gives back to readers. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab a deposit now. Activity time, August 10th to August 20th. Chapter 16 Whitebeard AI. Please vote for flower evaluation. Zephyr happily signed the employment agreement, handed it back to the code number 0, and said, "Don't look at that guy who only has a bounty of 300 million, but he is very powerful. And you have to worry about the short woman next to him. Haha, I don't want your hands to be like mine," Zephyr said as he extended his robotic arm in front of code 0. "It looks like this." Tong was very dissatisfied when he heard this. "Why does this guy have such a bad mouth?" Tong said angrily. Code 0 replied to him, "Our organization is not a bunch of trash like you, Marine." Codename 0 relayed Tong's words to Zephyr. Zephyr's face, which was still smiling and mischievous, suddenly condensed. He snorted coldly and said angrily, "We are the new Marines." Tong was still disdainful. "Tell him, the freshman Marine is also a waste. If he was really capable, he wouldn't plan such an extreme plan." And this sentence, coupled with the cold tone on Xiao'S face that could not be seen, only made people feel more mocking. It's like a person standing at the top, looking down at the losers at the bottom of the mountain. The anger in Zephyr's heart soared instantly, and he was also very shocked. This sentence shows that the Akatsuki organization knows the next plan of its newborn Marine. How can this be? Even Marine doesn't know about my plan, how could they? Zephyr's eyes changed when he looked at code 0 this time, becoming very solemn. Xiao, the organization, is indeed mysterious and terrifying. A drop of sweat slipped from his forehead. Zephyr gritted his teeth, but didn't say anything. It finally turned into a cold snort. He turned around and left the meeting place. Code 0 ignored it and turned into a stream of light and flew towards the sky. The target of this mission, Edward Weibel, is on a small island called Kakola. At this time, in the village of Kakola Island, most of the houses were in ruins, with flames blazing into the sky. Under the rubble, cries of pain can still be heard. A little girl had tears in her eyes and kept crying for her mother. But her mother was already lying in a pool of blood. "Mom, let's call that little girl Mom again." Not far away, Edward Weibel looked at his mother and said. Ba Jin pushed up his glasses, then raised the crutch in his hand and pointed at the little girl and said, "Weibel, they are making my head buzz. Tell them to shut up. This is the territory of the Whitebeard Pirates. Captain Whitebeard will not let you go if you do this." The village chief lay on the ground with wounds all over his body, roaring with grief and anger. "Haha, you should watch out. This is Whitebeard's son. Now that Whitebeard is almost exhausted, the treasure territory should be inherited by his biological son," Ba Jin said with excitement. "Ba!" The village chief spat and cursed. How could Captain Whitebeard be so generous and philanthropic to have such a son? Edward Weibel was very angry when he heard this. "Mom, Mother, they all say that I am not Whitebeard's son. Obviously my beard is also white." Ba Jin comforted. "These people are blind, ignore them. You are Whitebeard's biological son." Then his face turned cold, with a hint of killing intent. "Kill all these disobedient people." "Okay, Mother." Edward Weibel listened to his mother's words. "Hold the broadsword in both hands and turn it to the starting point." Hew hew hoo hoo, like the wings of a helicopter, dancing like a huge wind, he then swung his sword, and the force of the knife directly cut the village chief, who fell on the ground in half. "Mom, am I great?" Ba Jin praised. "Weibel, you are Whitebeard's son. You must be very powerful." With his mother's praise, Edward Weibel smiled like a flower, sucked the snot out of his nose, and then said, "Mom, Mom, there is another one. I will also shut her up so that your ears can be clearer." After saying that, he walked towards the little girl. The girl looked at his burly figure and was so frightened that she cried even harder. Edward Weibel stopped in front of the little girl, raised the big knife in his hand, and then lowered it. The crying stopped suddenly, and the whole village was left with the sound of burning flames and cracking wood. "Mom, do you feel quiet yet?" Ba Jin nodded. "Quiet. Well done, Weibel." Hey, Edward Weibel was as happy as a child. "This territory has been taken back. Let's go, Weibel, let's go to the next stop." What the two people didn't notice was that at the moment when the sword light struck down, a laser beam was hidden in the sword light to help the little girl block the blow. Code 8, take the little girl out of here first, and then come back to support Code 0. Tong said through the psychic communication skill. Code number 0. There is no need to worry anymore, the mission is carried out. Yes. At this time, Edward Weibel looked at the sky directly in front of him strangely and said, Mom, what do you think that is?" After being reminded, Ba Jin also saw the laser. "I don't know about Weibel, but he must be a bad guy. Kill him directly. Maybe he came to rob our territory." Edward Weibel nodded. "Yeah." He clenched the big knife in his hand. As the laser got closer and closer, Ba Jin saw clearly the black robe codenamed 0 and the black smiling mask on his face, and he said in surprise, "Isn't this the member of the Akatsuki organization that appeared before?" "Why?" Here Edward Weibel cast a questioning look. Mom, what should we do?" Ba Jin said in a sharp voice, "Whitebeard beat that guy down and then killed him. He is a bad guy." "Okay, Mom." Edward Weibel was very obedient and had already accumulated strength just now. At this moment he shouted loudly and struck out with a long charged slash. As soon as the knife fell, a crack was opened on the ground by the force, and it slashed directly towards Code 0. Code 0 ignored him and let his strength cut him in half. When Edward Weibel saw the man splitting in half, he said with great joy, Mom, I win again." But Code 0 body was divided into two halves and merged into a whole body, and then fell in front of the two of them. Mom, he's not dead." Ba Jin snorted. "Whitebeard is a load-of-fruit user, so you have to use Haki. Do you understand?" Edward Weibel nodded. "Got it, Mom. I will definitely kill this person who wants to steal our territory." Ba Jin's face was full of confidence. "Weibel, you are Whitebeard's son. If these guys dare to shout in front of you, they should be killed." "Yeah, Mom." After Edward Weibel finished his answer, his figure immediately disappeared without a trace, and where he had just been standing, a hole was directly dug into the ground. Tong also saw this scene and was slightly surprised. The speed was so fast and quite overwhelming, not caring that Kizaru would say that he had the strength of a young Whitebeard. But Tong didn't care. He was just surprised for a while and then regained his composure. On this side of the battlefield, a roar came from Code 0 head. Edward Weibel made a direct leap and slashed towards Code 0 head. Feilu's 18th anniversary brand upgrade gives back to readers. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab a deposit now. Activity time, August 10th to August 20th. Chapter 17 Kill Whitebeard AI. Please vote for flower evaluation. On the cliff in the distance, Zephyr led a group of new marines here. He looked towards the place where the flames were blazing in the distance, where Edward Weibel and Codename 0 were fighting, and said in a cold tone, "You sounded arrogant to me just now. There are rumors that the Akatsuki organization is powerful. I want to see how powerful it is." Zephyr'S eyes were deep under his sunglasses, staring at the battlefield in the distance. This side of the battlefield, the sword in Edward Weibel's hand shines brightly, with armament Haki covering the blade. Code 0 still stood still, without even turning his head. He pulled out a laser sword directly from his palm, and it instantly radiated light. As soon as the sword was drawn out, he turned around and directly blocked the sword struck by Edward Weibel. Then, the collision of the two weapons directly set off a cyclone, blowing away the surrounding sand and rocks and extinguishing the flames. Ba Jin was directly blown away by this cyclone. You can imagine how powerful it was. Edward Weibel was slightly shocked. The opponent is too strong. Is this still a Logia user? Generally speaking, people with Logia abilities are much weaker physically, but the guy wearing the mask in front of me is actually stronger than him. Code Zero ignored what Edward Weibel was thinking. After he blocked the heavy blow from Edward Weibel, he immediately turned the excitement sword in his hand and held it with his backhand. The originally slender laser sword changed instantly and looked like an extremely sharp dagger. Press your feet harder. Boom! The ground was directly trampled by Code Zero, and his body flew away like a sharp sword. Alarm signs suddenly arose in Edward Weibel's heart, and he hurriedly raised the sword in front of him. The next moment, he flew out like a deflated balloon and fell to the ground. Beside, Ba Jingding stood up just now and saw this scene, and was frightened in his heart. Edward Weibel actually fell. This guy is so powerful. You must know that her son is very confident that she can fight against the captain of the Whitebeard division. But in front of this Akatsuki member, is this going to last? In the distance on the cliff, those new marine subordinates only felt their eyes blur, and Edward Weibel fell. What just happened? Is that a fruit ability? I didn't see anything. Edward Weibel just fell down. On the side, Zephyr'S expression changed, and he could naturally see clearly what happened in the scene just now. This is not the power of the fruit. This person is using his own physical skills. He hates people with abilities, and he also despises people with abilities. Zephyr feels that people with abilities only rely on the ability of devil fruit to dare to act recklessly. Without abilities, many people would be useless. But at this moment, Codename Zero told him with great power that Espers can also be powerful in physical skills. Below, Edward Weibel gritted his teeth and stood up again. He waved the big knife in his hand, and his momentum was once again fierce. He seemed to be able to control the situation with one man. Code Zero was not afraid at all, and his body suddenly turned into a laser and shot out. Before Edward Weibel could react, Code Number Zero was already in front of him. He quickly swung his sword and slashed at Code Zero. But Code Zero dodged the sword in a flash. Without giving Edward Weibel a chance to breathe, the laser turned into a human form again, and then a laser emerged from his finger and shot towards Edward Weibel. Before Edward Weibel had time to take back the knife, he felt the danger again. It's too late to hide. Edward Weibel had no choice but to dodge as much as possible, but he was still too slow, and his arm was shot directly through the laser. Then, the big knife in his hand fell off and fell to the ground, while a scream came from his mouth. Edward Weibel gritted his teeth and quickly retreated. Code Zero didn't give him any chance and fired more than a dozen lasers from his fingers. Edward Weibel was really frightened this time. He shouted loudly and stepped directly to the ground. The ground shattered directly and flew up due to the huge force. A whole piece of soil blocked the front of Edward Weibel. The dozen or so lasers fired by Code Zero were blocked like this. But Edward Weibel had not yet had time to breathe a sigh of relief. The figure named Code Zero has already appeared on his side, and the speed of the laser fruit is so fast. Directly to Edward Weibel. Edward Weibel's eyes were frightened, and he no longer had any weapons in his hands. He could only roar, covering armament Haki with his hands, crossing them in front of him. The laser dagger in Code Zero hand was cut down directly, and armament Haki collided with each other. Edward Weibel felt a pain in his arm, flew out, and landed heavily. A mouthful of blood spat out from his mouth. Code Zero fierce momentum continues unabated. There was only one thought in my mind: kill Edward Weibel. The laser dagger in his hand struck directly at Edward Weibel's neck. PFFD. With blood splattering everywhere, Edward Weibel's eyes froze and he looked at his neck in disbelief. Then he turned to look at Ba Jin. His mouth moved silently, and soon he fell motionless in a pool of blood. Edward Weibel is dead. After Yi Tong's order, Code Zero attacked crazily and directly beat Edward Weibel without any ability to fight back, and was eventually killed. In people's eyes, this only takes less than a minute. On the cliff, the new Marines were shocked beyond measure. What just happened? Is this how Edward Weibel died? I'll go. I was hurt by the laser just now, so I just rubbed my eyes and looked at it again and it's over. This member of the Akatsuki organization is too scary. Everyone was in a daze. Is this a pirate who can cut off the handsome man's arm? Why do I feel so weak? I was solved by someone else in just a few moves. Or are you saying that your commander is old and can't do it anymore? Everyone stared at Zephyr. Zephyr was also in shock, but suddenly he felt like a light on his back, looking at the eyes of his subordinates looking at him. I couldn't help but have a black line on my face. What does this guy's look mean? What? Do you doubt my strength? He couldn't help but curse loudly. What are you looking at? If that guy didn't have a powerful fruit, could he kill Edward Weibel so easily? If it were Laozi, if Seastone grabbed his arm, I would definitely defeat this guy. Everyone still looked at their handsome man. Although they didn't say anything, their eyes said it. Really? Why do you feel like you are bragging? They are so fast, can you catch them? But after all, he is his own boss, so he still has to give him face. Everyone quickly looked back. Zephyr couldn't help but curse Chunin. This bastard actually looks down on his own commander. When he gets back, I won't treat you properly. But then again, Zephyr was really shocked by the strength of Codename Zero. Although he said that in front of his subordinates, it was just for the sake of face. To be honest, he really fought with that member of the Akatsuki organization. Zephyr felt that it would be difficult for him to withstand such a speed. But being powerful is powerful. But how will the Akatsuki organization face it next? You know, the troublesome person this time is no longer with Edward Weibel, but with his mother, Ba Jin. In addition to being suddenly attacked and protecting the students, the reason why his arm was cut off was also because of Ba Jin's ability. To be honest, he was defeated by Ba Jin's ability. Zephyr chuckled. Xiao, how will you solve it? Originally he just tried to hire Akatsuki for a try, but now he is looking forward to it. He is looking forward to the Akatsuki organization being able to kill Edward Weibel. Zephyr continued to look at the battlefield below with interest. Beside, Ba Jin's eyes under his sunglasses couldn't see the changes clearly. After a while, she said angrily, You dare to kill my son, kill Whitebeard's son, you deserve to die, you deserve to die. Code Zero glanced at Ba Jin and ignored him. This is not the target person of the mission, he is too lazy to take action. Master, the target has been killed. Code Zero said in his heart. Soon, Yi Tong's voice sounded. Very good. Find Z to get the balance. Then the task is completed. Code Zero responded and prepared to leave. At this moment, Ba Jin stood up and said angrily, Xiao organization, what about Xiao organization? I am Whitebeard's woman. Marine is afraid of me. How dare your Akatsuki organization be so presumptuous? Kill my son, kill Whitebeard's son. However, I only killed one. Whitebeard and I have many sons. Ha 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 ha. After Ba Jin finished speaking, she laughed wildly. Her old face and this laughter looked extremely weird. The next moment, an incredible scene appeared. I saw him grabbing bags of plasma from his pocket, and then scattering them all into the air. Creation fruit, ability to create people. Ba Jin roared, and a ball of light appeared in his palm. The blood fell to the ground and gradually began to surge. The blood was like living creatures, and masses of flesh and blood began to grow. Soon, more than 30 people who looked exactly like Edward Weibel appeared. Each of them holds a big sword in his hand, and they look exactly like the Edward Weibel just now, as if they were carved from the same template. After more than 30 Edward Weibels appeared, they all happily shouted to Ba Jin, "Mom, Mom." Tong saw this scene through the perspective of Code Zero and was stunned. So this is how Whitebeard Roman 2 came to be. Previously, others had speculated that Whitebeard could use Whitebeard's body, or that he might have the same abilities as Mo Natially. Now it seems that it is because of Ba Jin's fruit ability. I have to say that this mystery that troubled Tong, a pirate fan, has been solved. On the cliff, Zephyr chuckled. This is Ba Jin's creation fruit ability. As long as there is someone's blood, you can create a copy of that person. A drop of blood can keep a clone alive for almost a day, and the more blood, the more powerful it is. Looking at the amount of blood that Ba Jin just spilled, it is estimated that the entire stockpile is in stock. I'm afraid these 30-odd clones are not much weaker than the original Edward Weibel. The other subordinates were also extremely surprised. A total of 34 Edward Weibels. Isn't this strength too strong? Even in the New World, it can be considered a high-class force. Do you think Xiao can beat that person? I think it's very suspenseful. I think we'll have to fight hard even when Admiral comes. When the Akatsuki organization first appeared in Summit War, there seemed to be only 10 people. I think it would be difficult to determine the winner if 10 people were sent out together for a while. That's right. After all, Edward Weibel also has the level of strength of Shichibukai, not to mention there are so many people now. Everyone was talking a lot, looking at the battlefield below, wondering how to break the situation after leaving the Akatsuki organization. Below, Ba Jin said to a dozen Edward Weibels, "My son, my dear son." Then he pointed to the code name 0. "This bastard from the Akatsuki organization killed your brother. Please help your brother avenge him." The 30 or so Edward Weibels looked at code number 0, and then saw the body of Edward Weibel lying aside. Their faces showed grief and anger. "Asshole, you dare to kill my brother, we are going to kill you." They waved machetes in their hands and swarmed towards code 0. Feilu's 18th anniversary brand upgrade gives back to readers. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab a deposit now. Activity time, August 10th to August 20th. Chapter 18, Xiao'S terrifying strength. Please vote for flower evaluation. 34 copies of Edward Weibel kill towards code 0. Tong tapped his fingers on the armrests of the table and chair and said calmly, "Code number 0, code number 8, you two hold on for a while. I didn't expect Ba Jin to have such a special ability. I will now send 50 more Vice Admiral and above companions to support you." "No problem, Master. Although I have consumed a lot just now, it is still no problem if I use the fruit's ability to delay time. With code No. 8 taking action, I might be able to kill a few more." "Code No. 0 said confidently. Tong couldn't help but smile. There's no need to work so hard, just hold them back. Once support arrives, these people won't be easily solved." "Yes, Master. Code 0 is straightforward. You can do whatever the Master says." On the battlefield, 34 replicas of Edward Weibel came towards code 0 with swords in their hands. It has to be said that with so many people, code 0 has to avoid its edge. And these 34 replicas were not a mindless attack, but a planned and organized encirclement surrounding code 0. Immediately, broadswords were slashed at code 0 from all directions, with Haki attached to all the broadswords. The laser sword in code 0 hand exploded, and he raised it to block. Several large knives fell down, and the force caused code 0 body to sink, causing the ground to sink. Although it was a bit difficult, code 0 was able to block a combined attack from several people. It actually blocked it. The attack was so strong just now, but now it still has strength. It's really too powerful. Yes. But with so many people, I'm afraid we won't be able to hold on for long. Just when everyone thought that code 0 could not last long, a sudden change occurred. What is that? There is one more person. I didn't expect that there would be someone lurking in the Akatsuki organization. I'm going. This Akatsuki member is equally powerful and terrifying, and the two of them cooperated so well that they directly injured several people below. Code Zero just did not dodge or evade and resisted the combined attacks of several people just to attract enough attention. Make these copies feel suppressed and able to pursue the victory. At this moment, Codename 8 had quietly approached the vicinity. The next moment, everyone continued to want to attack Codename 0. Codename 8 uses the laser fruit ability to kill directly. Although his strength is worse than Codename 0, his speed is still extremely fast. The emergence of Codename 8 was something Bajin and these Edward Weibel did not expect. Everyone is still thinking about continuing to pursue the victory and kill Code 0. At this time, Codename 8 was holding a laser sword and struck directly from behind. The target is clear, directly to the vital point of the neck. By the time the replica realized the murderous intent behind him, it was too late. Code 8 slashed out his sword and directly killed an Edward Weibel. "Mom, there's another one," all the Edward Weibels exclaimed. Ba Jin's face also became very ugly. 2 Edward Weibels fell down in a row, which made her extremely angry. "My dear sons, kill them, kill Xiao, skin and cramps." Then, Ba Jin seemed to have thought of something, and her original ugly face turned into a sickly excitement. She looked greedy. "Sons, hurry up, kill them quickly, and my mother will give you several more brothers, a powerful brother, so I can help you take over the legacy of your fathers. Haha, now, all of Whitebeard's blood has been used up, but if the blood of these 2 people can be obtained, many powerful sons can be born." Although Code 0 and Code 8 are powerful, Ba Jin is very confident that even if they are exhausted, they can be defeated. As long as 2 people are injured and bleeding, he can use the creation fruit ability to create clones of the 2 people. "Hey, Xiao organization wants to kill my sons, and you don't even look at who their mother is." Ba Jin laughed. Although, Codename 8 suddenly entered the scene and killed a replica again. But the people watching this battle were very optimistic that the Akatsuki organization could win this victory. After all, Edward Weibel has a large number of people, and his strength is not weak. In the original One Piece, Edward Weibel was a being who could wipe out all the remnants of Whitebeard. His strength was probably at a quasi-admiral level above vice-admiral, and Haki could do both colors. Zephyr'S stood on the cliff, watching the battle below. The originally expectant look was gone, and he sighed and said calmly, "It seems that these 2 members of the Akatsuki organization will be buried here this time. It's a pity. With such great strength, it would be great if they were from my freshman marine." I murmured in my heart, "It seems that I still have to take revenge on my own, and at the same time end this evil era." But the next moment, Zephyr'S pupils trembled under his sunglasses. What are these breaths? He had kept his sight color turned on, and at this moment he discovered a group of powerful people coming from the distance of the battlefield. How is this going? These people are not weak in strength, and their numbers are quite large. What force came again? At this moment, Zephyr no longer cared about his image in front of his subordinates. His face was full of horror. The subordinates were a little surprised. "Commander, what's wrong with you?" Most of the subordinates were unaware and naturally had no idea what was going on. "Be careful, I don't know what force is coming. The people coming here are very powerful. Don't be caught getting involved in the war. Our new Marines need to conserve their strength for now." When the subordinates heard this, they were surprised. "Strong?" The commander actually said that the one who came was powerful. "You must know that the Marshal is a very arrogant person. There are very few forces that he will take seriously, even the Marine Admiral. But now the commander is very vigilant, a little afraid of the forces coming." "Who is this force? Pirates? Or Marine?" On the battlefield, both Code 0 and Code 8 sensed that members of Akatsuki were about to arrive. A smile appeared under the mask. It was finally here. Originally, the two of them were dodging left and right, not facing each other head-on. Ba Jin and the replica were so inflated that they thought they kept dodging because they didn't dare to resist. Ba Jin laughed and said, "Let's see how long you can hide. Sons, work harder, they will soon run out of energy. Then we can avenge our brother." But at this time, the two of them looked like different people, no longer dodging and firing with full force. Like a ferocious beast starting to run rampant. "Mom," these two suddenly went crazy. Ba Jin waved his hand and said nonchalantly, "It's just a struggle before death, nothing more." Huh? Suddenly, Ba Jin realized something was wrong. There was no response, only a series of landing sounds were heard. At this moment, all copies of Edward Weibel suddenly stopped attacking. Ba Jin also became sluggish. On the cliff, Zephyr completely lost his composure and even slipped his sunglasses without realizing it. This is Akatsuki? I saw 50 Akatsuki members in black robes and white smiling masks, overwhelming the darkness, surrounding Ba Jin and a group of Edward Weibel. Feilu's 18th anniversary brand upgrade gives back to readers. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab a deposit now. Activity time, August 10th to August 20th. Chapter 19 Zephyr'S Decision. Please vote for flower evaluation. 50 members of Akatsuki appear. Zephyr purred and swallowed. He no longer cared about his image in front of his subordinates. The shock was all written on his face. Xiao, there are so many people and the most important thing is that these people are very powerful, close to the strength of Shichibukai, right? What do these 50 people mean? Zephyr feels that if these people fight against his new Marines and he, Ein, Binz, and others do not participate, these people alone can destroy the entire new Marine Xiao. The organization is really too powerful. And it's not the pirates of the Akatsuki organization. If he and the Akatsuki organization can form an alliance, then his dream of annihilating pirates may come true. Originally, Zephyr only planned to give it a try. If it failed, he would launch a long-planned plan to blow up 3 major endpoints, destroy the entire New World, and bury all the pirates. But now, with such a powerful Akatsuki organization, is this still necessary? The answer is of course no. Zephyr's face gradually showed joy, and he made up his mind to form an alliance with the Dawn organization. The battlefield below Ba Jin, who originally thought he was in great shape, suddenly withered. There are so many people in the Xiao organization? Didn't the newspaper say before that there were only 10 people at Summit War? What is the true strength of the Akatsuki organization? Does it mean that we have reached the level of Sea Emperor? Ba Jin didn't dare to think about it. He didn't care about what he said. "My sons, just run away. If you are so scared, it is important to escape for your own life. These sons are just created by my own abilities, and I want more of them." But how could Yi Tong let him go? Ba Jin had just been belittling the Xiao organization. Want to run away after being insulted? Yi Tong looked calm and gave the order to kill. Send this old woman on the road as well. Yes. All members of Akatsuki responded collectively. The momentum soared into the sky. I'll leave these replicas to you. I'll be in charge of that old woman, Code Zero said to the group of friends. Everyone also agreed that it would be better to kill him easily now compared to the long battle with Code Zero. These Akatsuki members who are above the Vice Admiral level are also happy. This was their first mission, and they could move their tibias. Let them see how terrifying the Akatsuki organization is. Kill! Code 8 roared, and the killing began. 33 members of Akatsuki rushed away with laser swords in hand. 1 man versus 1 Edward Weibel replica. The rest of the people are responsible for shooting laser rays outside. The battle was one-sided. Although the Edward Weibel replica is said to be quite powerful, it is still very difficult to face the members of the Akatsuki organization who are all ability users. Instead, you have to be prepared for the sudden laser rays from time to time. On Ba Jin's side, he was stopped by Codename Zero after running a certain distance. Old woman, your son is still fighting. How can you, the mother, leave? Ba Jin looked at the burly Code Zero in front of him and felt that it was like a huge mountain that he could not cross. She made her last struggle and shouted, I am Whitebeard's woman, you dare to kill me. Whitebeard. Before he finished speaking, the laser beam in Code Zero hand shot out directly, piercing Ba Jin's chest. The master said that you, the shameless old woman, upset him, so it would be better for you to shut up and never speak. A big hole was directly punched through Ba Jin's chest and blood overflowed from his mouth. Before that, she heard what Code Zero said. My heart trembled, master. She had witnessed with her own eyes the scene where Code Zero had just killed Edward Weeble. His strength was comparable to that of Whitebeard, but there was a master behind him. So how terrifying is this master's strength to make these people willing to surrender and call him master? I'm afraid it's comparable to any one of the 4 emperors. When this person is born, how will the world tremble? But she can't see any of this. Ba Jin fell. The replicas of Edward Weeble, who were surrounded by 51 members of Akatsuki, also fell one after another. It is only a matter of time before the group is wiped out. At this point, this employment mission is about to end. On the cliff, Zephyr jumped down from above. The subordinates of the new army were stunned. Commander, what are you doing? I'm going to contact the Xiao'S organization to discuss cooperation. Zephyr's voice came. Talk about cooperation? Everyone looked at each other, looking at each other. Is the handsome man crazy? From the beginning to now, they are all understanding the power of the Dawn organization. If we discuss cooperation with such a powerful organization, will the other party agree? They themselves knew very well how much they and others were worth. If it weren't for the presence of Dashui and Dashui's 2 students, Ai Yin and Binz, the new army would be just a bunch of little shrimps. Xiao, everyone in the organization is strong. Will they look down on people like us? He is still a little worried in his heart. The commander is also an arrogant person. If the Xiao organization does not agree with him, will there be a fight? Zephyr jumped down from the cliff and rushed towards the battlefield quickly. With the fall of the last Edward Weeble replica, the mission was declared over. Master, mission accomplished. Codename Zero Huey reported. Yeah. Good job. You guys come back and have a rest. I'll find someone else to pick up the balance. Thank you, Master. Everyone thanked him. Then, just as he was about to leave, he saw smoke and dust billowing in the distance. Xiao members all looked over and saw that the person coming was Zephyr. Master, you shouldn't let anyone else get the balance. What? Because the mission was completed, Tong didn't use his skills to see the situation on the battlefield, so he didn't know what happened. The employer is now thinking of us coming here. Zephyr. Tong was stunned. What was Zephyr doing there? Soon, Zephyr arrived in front of everyone. I saw him panting slightly. After calming down for a while, he scratched his head and laughed. Sorry, I'm old. I feel a little tired after running for a while. Tong didn't want to bullshit him, so he came at the right time and could get the balance directly. As long as the final payment is received and the task judgment is completed, he will have a wealth value of 500 million. His strength will improve by leaps and bounds again. Code Zero paraphrased Tong's words. Z, the mission target has been killed, give us the balance. Zephyr laughed loudly, of course. Xiao organized it so beautifully, so the balance will naturally be made up quickly. Then, Zephyr showed respect on his face, without the arrogance he had at the beginning of the meeting, and said, Can I ask a question? Tell me. What's the problem? Code Zero said calmly. Can the Akatsuki organization form an alliance with our new Marines? Feilu's 18th anniversary brand upgrade gives back to readers. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab a deposit now. Activity time, August 10th to August 20th. Alright legends, that's it for today. If you're ready for the next chapter, smash that like button and flood the comments right now. Remember, we've got 3 days to prove this story needs to continue. Subscribe so you don't miss the drop, and I'll meet you in the next audiobook.